Stick with me here. You and I are about to watch a guy who played this game hundreds of times finally log in. Zero warning. He wakes up as the absolute most pathetic demon prince. A literal background character guaranteed to die in the throne wars. But instead of freaking out, he celebrates. The absolute worst spawn means the best opportunities. He breaks the game, hunting hidden rewards, recruiting major characters, and completely abusing a totally broken system mechanic. Taking damage equals free skills. He's slowly transforming this doomed nobody into a complete monster the original plot never saw coming. Flashback to a bit earlier, our MC is sprinting down the street. Meet Juing Gong. His folks named him that, hoping he'd be a big shot. In Korean, his name literally translates to main character. Dashing into a shop, the owner yells out Juing Gong. The guy grins and says, "Ah, there he is." Sure, people mocked his name his whole life, but he genuinely didn't care. He seriously wants that main character energy. Glaring at the giggling shopkeeper, he tells him to knock it off. Then he asks, "Did you get the game?" The dude chuckles, saying he saved it just for him. The Night Saga remake, an epic clash between humans and massive demons. You either play the human hero Locke, or the demon heir Zephyr Ragnaros exploring the massive world and grinding through endless quest lines. As a kid, he beat this masterpiece over 10 times. He practically knows it backwards. Plus, this is its huge VR debut. Later at home, Juing Gong jams the shiny new flash drive right into his headset. Slipping it on, he kicks back in his chair. Smiling, our guy promises himself he won't play for too long today. Just a quick 8-hour session. Blinking his eyes open later, he glances around the weird room. Wait, am I inside the game? Watch closely, this is where it gets wild. No starter bed. Who is he playing? Suddenly a loud voice booms outside. Are you still asleep? A massive orc peeks in ordering him outside. Did he seriously forget what they were supposed to do? Startled, he yells out. These graphics are insane. It feels completely real. The confused orc repeats himself. Graphics, our guy thinks. I can actually talk back. That definitely wasn't in the ads. He asks for the big guy's name. The orc sighs. You forgot. It's Karak. The MC echoes the name, totally confused. Stepping out, Karak grunts. Everyone is waiting. Prince Shutra, so move it. Shutra Ignis, the 9th demon prince, panic sets in. Wait a second, I didn't even get to pick my character yet. Why this guy? Waving his hand wildly, he immediately tries pulling up his status window. Checking the glowing screen, he groans. Fine, I'll play the weak prince. But wait, standard NPCs have at least 10 points per stat. Why are mine garbage? I'm literal royalty. Checking his skills, he freezes in total confusion. Wait, conquest and main character settings. Could main character settings actually mean what it sounds like? Before he can guess, Karak peeks back and barking at him to hustle. Yeah, coming. Stepping outside, he squints at the light and spots a whole squad of armed orcs. He asks his guard what's happening. It looks like an all-out war. Karak snaps at him to walk and stop babbling nonsense. We're crushing the Crimson Light idiots. The MC panics. What? Karak roars. This is our first battle. Right now, Shutra screams, wait, a fight, where's my tutorial? Turns out, the Crimson Light orcs formed a massive rebel army. Sweating bullets, he asks, does this mean I have to fight the 7th prince and 8th princess? Are we seriously fighting 10 at once? Karak scoffs. Relax, we're just doing a simple border patrol today. Oh really? He double checks. What is wrong with you? Karak asks. Ignoring him, Shutra waves his hand, pulling up the shiny system interface. Let's pause for a second. You and I know he's a pro gamer, right? He pulls up the minimap, grinning. Huge advantage unlocked. Spotting a secret zone, he thinks, oh, an event allowed. He says walking takes too long. Follow me, I know a massive shortcut. Karak looks confused, but the squad follows. Scaling a rock wall, our prince suddenly halts, staring at some massive stone doors. Shocked, Karak asks, how did you even find this? Are you some kind of mage? The MC sighs, man I wish. Karak asks, are you okay? You look wrecked. Shutra mentally groans, never expecting this first level to be so physically exhausting. He orders them to push the doors open. Suddenly, raw energy surges through his body. What the fraud? The system pings. He literally leveled up. No way, he shouts. He gained a level just by walking. His base stats instantly bumped up plus 2 bonus points. That is absolutely broken. Karak glances back, annoyed. What are you standing around for? We gotta move. Right coming, he replies. In his head he's praying. No idea what's inside, but hey, at least I brought the heavy muscle. Plus main character plot armor, right. Stepping into the dark, Karak notes this cave was totally carved by dwarves. The MC blinks. Dwarves, I thought they were extinct, Karak nods. They are now, but they used to be everywhere. Did they flee to the demon realm? Shutra asks. Karak says it's just rumors. What do you and I think? Trust me, we'll see. Alright, stick with me on this one. He stares ahead in shock while the orcs charge, cheering about free dwarf weapons. Time to loot everything. The green guys laugh like maniacs while our main character walks up. But the system shuts him down. Level 2 low, not enough strength, 0 magic. He doesn't care. He tells them to grab it all to test his inventory limits. Take it. Just touch and think he realizes. Then he loudly orders everyone to make a run for it. The orcs spin around just as the cavern wall suddenly explodes into flying jagged rocks. Enter Kachin, general of the Crimson Light tribe. Think they would just let him walk away. Kill them. The red orcs clash with the green ones in a brutal brawl. Our guy panics. What now? Steel kills for experience. He smashes his broken sword on an orc's head. Shatra stares at the fragment, puzzled, while the orc just growls. He tries to sprint away but trips over a rock and falls hard. The system flashes. 1 health point left. He shrieks in absolute terror as a giant fist drops. He screams his lungs out, but Karak blocks the strike, yelling to run. Shatra gasps his name. Shakily standing up, he mutters that this game is way too intense. Time to log out now. Return to the main menu. Yes, this is getting way too creepy. But then he stares at the prompt. Now, pay close attention here. No exit button. Is he actually trapped? Kaichin steps up, aiming his glowing staff. No, he cannot die, but blast magic sends him flying back. His health hits 0 and he closes his eyes. Floating in a new space, he asks where he is. Those orcs definitely killed him. Is he dead? A bright glow appears and a voice declares his destiny is to conquer, enslave, and rule. A mysterious glowing girl extends her hand. What is this? Meanwhile, the cave battle continues. Kaichin smirks, wondering who would have thought there were so few. Are they arrogant or just completely brainless? No more time to waste. Kill them all. Back to reality. Shatra gasps awake. Was that an awakening? Kaichin is shocked he is alive. The system pops up. Level 1 telekinesis acquired. He stares blankly. Wait, when did he even learn that? A new subclass, Conqueror Knight. Kaichin absolutely loses his mind and screams for their heads. Karak turns around in relief, commanding every green orc to protect the prince at all costs. Shatra clenches his fist, reading the glowing text. That class does not even exist in the regular Knight tree. So, what is going on here? He jams his broken sword into the rocky floor, suddenly looking confident. You and I probably saw a power-up coming, right? Watch him claim his royal power of conquest. Under the royal banner, his guards are wrapped in mana. System confirms a limited area level 1 conquest skill. The area buff hits his allies. The green orcs joyfully shout about becoming much stronger. Time for payback. They charge right into the enemy lines while Kaichin completely flips out. How did they suddenly get so ridiculously strong? This is nonsense. He scans the room for him. Kaichin charges straight at him, demanding he cancel the magic. Shatra just calmly boosts his general Karak. He shoots a blast of raw mana at Kaichin, stopping him cold. Karak easily decapitates an enemy, sending the Reds into total panic. The enemy lines break and they start retreating. Do not let those cowards get away. System update. The general's merits go straight to the king. Shatra smiles as his level shoots up, doing nothing. Karak stares at his glowing hands, completely stunned. Did His Royal Highness really give him this strength? Fast forward, they are safely back at camp. Inside his private tent, our guy is having a meltdown. Still no logout button. He forces himself to breathe. Option 1. His brain is trapped inside virtual reality. Maybe it is just a terrible bug waiting for a patch. Or, Option 2 is way crazier. Classic comic book logic. He actually got dragged inside the game world, or this fantasy universe is completely real. The NPCs have free will, and worst of all, he checks his pants. No video game censorship, another world. If he dies here, it is actually game over. But hey, at least he spawned as a wealthy prince. So, what do we make of this? A golden spoon start, then Karak walks in asking for a second. He turns around nervously. Wait, why is this giant monster suddenly asking him for a sparring match? Let's dive into this wild story together. Karak insists on leading, saying a skill test is good prep. The MC sighs. Is this necessary? He easily catches the wooden sword. Karak tosses his way. Karak tells him not to sweat it, he will totally hold back. Shutra just laughs out loud. He tells the big guy to look in the mirror. Is that how you talk to royalty? Shutra rushes in, yelling that if they are fighting, he better go all out. Karak just grips his sword and thrusts it forward. Shutra swings hard but misses completely. Karak smirks. To him, this feels exactly like an egg trying to smash against a solid rock. The orc easily shoves the MC away. Shutra screams, eating dirt as he falls. Grabbing his throbbing head, Karak casually asks if he is okay. Come on, why hit so hard? But then ding, a system window suddenly pops up. Basic Sword Mastery Level 1 has been acquired. Wait, he got Sword Mastery from that? Shutra's eyes shoot wide open. It finally clicks. It is basically a cheat code. He gets new skills just by taking a beating. Karak tells him they are officially done here. Who said we are done? Karak looks super confused. Shutra smirks, says he is just getting warmed up, grips his sword and charges right back. Watch closely with me. Karak notices his movements are suddenly way better. Why was he so clumsy just a second ago? You cannot just level up out of nowhere, right? Karak swings hard, but this time the MC effortlessly dodges the heavy attack. Shutra grins. Not bad, right? He asks Karak what level he is. The orc checks and says, level 21. MC repeats it. 21, huh? Oh, he will catch up in no time. Shutra checks his own system window, level 7. Yep, everyone in this crazy world has levels. But normal people cannot just see them instantly like him. They actually have to cast a complex estimation spell first. Seeing and boosting stats is a massive cheat code. The MC fiercely kicks off the ground and charges right back into the fight. Landing right in front of Karak, he realizes the truth. He can get stronger. Actually, he can level up way faster than anyone else. The demon arc in Night Saga follows Zephyr. It shows how he utterly crushed his own siblings to become the terrifying Demon King. There are tons of crazy events before the finale, but the absolute worst one, the forced killing day. In the year 517, Zephyr slaughters all his siblings to take the throne. And yeah, all means our boy Shutra is dead meat too. It is currently 512. He only has a few years left to stop this absolute massacre, the only way. Become much stronger than Zephyr. A little later, the MC is just chilling on a log in the woods. Karak pops out of the bushes, totally confused. Prince, what are you doing? You and I both know what happened. He completely forgot. Karak asks, did you forget today is the big meeting? A meeting, Shutra asks. Karak just sighs. Everyone is literally waiting. He looks completely lost. Cut to a bit later and he is sitting at a massive table awkwardly laughing. Oh, you guys are early. Chris Moonlight, the 7th prince, asks why he is acting so formal. They are family after all. Caitlin Moonlight, the 8th princess, points out this is literally their first meeting. Chris waves it off. Just let him use their first names. Shutra quickly agrees. He remembers the game lore. These two are the children of Elaine Moonlight, the 4th queen and leader of the lycanthropes. Back in the original game, these two caused massive headaches. But a year before the main assassination event, Zephyr and the other heirs slaughtered them. Why? All because of a dark secret regarding Caitlin's birth. She is an illegitimate child. Caitlin scolds him, asking why he fought without any real plan. She told him to just patrol. He awkwardly replies he had no idea enemies were there. Caitlin leans in to check on him. Is he hurt anywhere bad? Shutra looks at her in surprise as she gently examines his injuries. Caitlin reminds him he is the weakest sibling and needs to be careful. He is shocked she actually cares. Since when were the Demon King's kids this close? Chris jokes that another stunt like that means a serious scolding. The MC smiles and nods. He is honestly so confused. Are his siblings actually nice? Lycanthropes have tons of mana users in their ranks. It is probably thanks to their absolutely massive life force. If he gets skills by taking damage, maybe he can learn mana the exact same way. Suddenly, Shutra drops a really weird request on them. Can they hit him with aura? They just stare at him like he is crazy. What? Suddenly we cut to orcs fiercely battling it out. The red orcs scream wildly, launching brutal attacks. A massive monster turns, smashes one away, and then orders its minions to kill them all. Whoever gets the most kills wins a reward. Suddenly, the MC appears in some mysterious space and spots a strange girl. A girl. He looks around totally lost. Who are they? He definitely does not remember these characters. She magically appears right behind him and a blinding light swallows him whole. Shutra instantly snaps his eyes open in his bed. He grabs his throbbing head. Was that all just a weird dream? Karak leans in asking if he is awake. The MC absolutely screams in terror. So what do you and I take from this? Karak sighs, wondering why he wanted the princess to punch him. Let's see the crazy results. A system window pops up, level 1 aura acquired. Shutra gasps in shock. He can actually feel the aura flowing through him. Stick with me here. Karak asks if getting hit triggered his aura awakening. The MC plays it cool. Karak wonders if fighting the Crimson Flames unlocked that hidden energy. The MC just casually nods, yes. Karak totally gets it. Then Shutra asks if he missed anything while knocked out. Oh, absolutely. The main army completely wiped out the Crimson Light tribe. Wait, the main army. He assumed only his elite squad could handle them. Karak shuts that down fast. The enemy tribe is massive. So who was leading the charge? General Bandel. Shutra is completely stunned. The legendary General Bandel. This guy is an absolute powerhouse. He loved him back in his gaming days as Zephyr. Wait, an opportunity. Bandel joins Zephyr later in the timeline. Right now, he is a free agent ready to be poached first. He knows absolutely everything he needs to know about this guy. Favorite snacks, preferred rewards, his talents, and the ultimate hook to lure him in, just beating him in a duel. With all that meta-knowledge, stealing Bandel away as a subordinate before Zephyr is practically a guaranteed win. He absolutely has to try. Plenty of time to make Bandel his loyal minion. Suddenly, a massive shout erupts. Chris is completely losing his mind. Level 1 aura in a single day. The MC Smirk stat dumping works wonders. Zero regrets here. Aura buffs absolutely every physical stat. Way better than telekinesis. Chris thinks it's an impossible Gandharva racial perk. Can Shutra really create underground maps? Underground maps. He pretends he can't, but hello, system, minimap. He plays it off, simply just asking for a pencil and some paper. Chris is absolutely mind-blown by the map. I know what you're thinking, Shutra is a genius. The MC just laughs. Caitlin realizes the enemy forces are dead, so the tribe has zero clue they discovered their secret underground tunnels. Chris is already plotting a nasty ambush. Since they are on a roll, he has one more huge favor to ask him. Shutra raises an eyebrow at him. Soon after, Karak sighs, realizing they probably need to patrol the area again. No choice at all. Being the youngest sibling definitely has drawbacks. Karak is just glad they have backup reinforcements. Shutra credits it all to pure hustle. Karak chuckles lightly. Suddenly they freeze and the MC asks his sister about the cloak. She shushes him immediately. Turns out she was tailing him as a secret bodyguard ready to jump in if things got dicey. She wants in on his success. Shutra is completely baffled. Is she actually crazy? Achievement. The girl introduces her super pleased adjutant Sarah. Our MC casually plays along. They promise to watch his back. No worries. Later exploring the cave, the MC notices it is totally empty. Karak scoffs. Nobody leaves treasure behind. The greedy dwarves totally looted everything. What about the leftover weapons? Karak guesses the dwarves just thought they were useless junk. Makes sense. As they keep walking, Karak senses someone is definitely approaching them. Shutra hears it too. One glance at his trusty minimap confirms it is definitely company. Inventory open. He grabs a flash spell item packed for emergencies. He tells Karak to make everyone shut their eyes on his mark. Karak looks totally confused as massive spiders start swarming right toward them. Stone spiders. Classic cave mobs swarming in dozens with nasty paralyzing poison. Everyone close your eyes. You definitely want to watch this. He chucks the potion high. A blinding flash fills the cave. Gamer logic kicking and creatures of darkness are completely helpless against a massive flashbang. Attack now. The orcs charge forward, hacking into the disoriented spider swarm with everything. The MC hangs back, analyzing. Swarms always have a boss. He yells for Karak to follow. Time for a boss raid. Karak charges ahead and skids facing an absolutely massive monster. Roaring loudly, Karak swings his heavy axe, but his eyes go wide in pure shock. The armor is way too thick. The MC curses, totally forgetting that physical damage barely scratches a tough stone exoskeleton. It needs fire damage, but he cannot cast spells yet. The beast growls, snapping giant jaws. Shutra screams to use fire. Karak panics. Where is he supposed to find fire? Then someone yells to raise his blade. Fiery mana wraps the sword. Karak is hyped magic. Caitlin steps up asking if that is enough. His sister, the monster, lunges and Shutra fiercely charges back. And that's where we leave it. Flaming blade versus spider. Let's dive right back into the madness. Mana coated his body, a system alert popped up for a level up and Shutra happily cheered out loud, level 9. Caitlin asked Shutra, what was that? The aura. He just casually replied, yeah. Just a random blessing. Things like this happen, so do not panic. She asked, a blessing? Are you a Gandharva? He smoothly lied, yeah, from a Gandharva. She pushed further. More importantly, have you fought those monsters before? Your reflexes are insane. He shrugged it off, saying he only read about them. But inside, oh, he remembered fighting them hundreds of times. Obviously, he knew their exact weaknesses. Suddenly, Karak pointed straight ahead, telling the prince to take a look. Shutra turned as the big guy mentioned finding some sort of hidden door. They pushed it open slightly and crept inside. Watch closely with me here. Shutra looked completely stunned, asking if this was a city portal, while Karak just asked if he recognized it. Shutra mumbled. He had a rough idea, though not entirely. Glancing around the room, he realized these were definitely dwarven markings. In his past life as Zephyr, he never saw these, but playing as the hero, he had bumped into them a few times. Pumping mana into it would definitely fire it up. He turned back to the group and confidently said, this might be a portal. Caitlin pulled her hood back, completely shocked. A portal, Sarah chimed in, noting that based on how it looked, the prince was right. Caitlin immediately asked, how do we even know where it goes? Sarah pointed out they needed to find some hidden text first. Stepping up to a weird sign, Karak called the prince over, swearing he saw something lightly carved into the stone. Shutra gave him a look and walked over alongside Caitlin. She muttered that these definitely were not demonic runes, but dwarven symbols. When asked if she could translate, Caitlin threw her hands up, questioning why she would know dwarven. Sierra quickly apologized, completely clueless too. Shutra suddenly read aloud, Portal number 2, the Gish Mountains directly linking to Portal number 3. He stared at the wall, totally confused. Wait, why could he naturally read Dwarven? A system prompt flashed, showing he got the Dwarven language level 1 skill. What, he could? Just absorb languages like a game mechanic. Karak looked over. Prince, can you actually read this? He smirked. Apparently I can. Caitlin scoffed. Since when do you speak Dwarven? Sarah leaned in. What else does it say? Shutra explained, that injecting mana would fully boot the whole thing up. He faced Caitlin, asking if she could do the honors. She glared. Why me and not you? He laughed awkwardly, admitting he had not mastered mana yet. Honestly, he could not use magic to save his life. Caitlin just sighed and said, fine. Stepping up, she funneled her mana right into the stone. A glowing hologram burst into the air, making someone gasp. Are those the Gish Mountains? This dot is us, and that one is portal number 3. Wait, does this mean those dwarven tunnels run all the way over there? It was very possible. Carrick just asked, is that good? I know what you're thinking. The Crimson Flame's main army is camped right there, Shutra smirked. Exactly. Now we can totally blindside them from behind. He called to head back and discuss this insane advantage with his brother. Everyone easily agreed. Back at camp, a massive shout echoed out. Finding a hidden portal in a place like that, the older brother was mind-blown by Shutra's luck. Shutra played it cool, reminding Chris of his earlier promise. If he ever needed a favor, Chris would do everything he absolutely could. Shutra brushed it off, but Chris refused to let it slide. As the big boss and his brother, a reward was mandatory. Honestly, rejecting it would be an insult. Shutra gave a sneaky grin. What if my request is completely unreasonable? Chris blinked. Unreasonable. Now he was hooked. Dropping the bomb, Shutra casually asked to learn the legendary beast god's hand-to-hand combat style. Chris stared with his eyes wide open. What Shutra's low level meant weapons were useless, but pure martial arts techniques bypassed that limit. The beast god combat style is an exclusive heavy-hitting martial art passed down strictly through the lycanthrope royal bloodline for generations. Basically, it is an insanely powerful S-rank technique. He admitted it was a huge ask and completely understood a rejection. Crossing his arms, he teased, "Is that too hard for you?" He totally expected a no. But Chris suddenly grinned. "Fine, I will teach you. Just no classified family secrets, obviously." Shutra lit up. "Seriously," Chris nodded, promising to cover the basics, at least. Then he noticed Shutra froze. Why so quiet all of a sudden? Having second thoughts, Shutra snapped out of it, cheering that this was absolutely perfect. Chris then warmly asked, "Can I really call you brother?" Shutra repeated it. Brother, he knew that word carried some serious weight around here. But you know what? He liked the sound of it. Shaking his hand, he agreed. Glancing at his new siblings, he silently promised they would conquer this together. Boom, the system flashed, confirming a brand new alliance formed with Chris and Caitlin Moonlight. Alliance status fully secured. And that's where we leave it for now. Meanwhile, an enemy orc questioned why their princess even traveled out here. What is her real endgame? Jump right into the chaos with me. The 6th Princess Felicia sits tied up on the dirt while our guy Shutra just stares at his system panel muttering charisma. Back when he first leveled up, every single stat jumped by 2 points. But suddenly, charisma only started going up by 1. Why, well, in the original game, charisma and appearance were actually totally separate stats. Appearance dictates raw physical attractiveness, while charisma controls how much people actually like you. Our MC figures there's a hidden reason, especially since his build is going great. Plus, he's basically inches away from hitting level 10. In the game, when Zephyr and Locke hit level 10, their unique skills, Scion of Darkness and Chosen One, get a major upgrade. So Shutra wonders if he hits level 10 right now, will one of his own broken skills evolve too? Carrick pokes his head into the tent. "Prince, we are all set. Are we moving out?" Our MC turns around. "Yeah." Carrick notices he's weirdly upbeat. "Did something good happen?" Shutra just brushes it off. "Not really." He steps outside to the orc squad and shouts, "All right, let's move." Fast forward a bit inside the dark cave. The orcs and wolves push ahead until the demon crew finally enters the main portal room. Chris immediately asks, "Is the scouting investigation totally finished?" The wolf nods. "Yes." He reports that the gateway links straight to the Eska River up in the Gishkov Mountains. Chris raises an eyebrow. "So it actually works." The wolf confirms it's sturdy as hell classic dwarven engineering. Chris doesn't hesitate. "All right, we are going in." The wolves fire up the magic gateway, and our MC is just geeking out amazed to see this portal. Caitlin glances back. "What are you waiting for?" Shutra snaps out of it. "Right, coming." They step through and instantly teleport to the snowy peaks. Chris smirks. "Perfect. The enemy camp is exactly where we thought. Looking at that footprint, they have roughly 5,000 troops. If we flank them from the back, it's an easy win. While General Bandel hits the front lines to cause massive chaos. Watch closely here, guys. Spies should be burning their supplies, but Caitlin spots a problem. The camp is way too empty. Chris realizes she is dead right. Where is everyone? Did they already launch their massive attack? MC suddenly jerks his head to the side. What is that noise? It seriously sounds like a massive battlefield. Chris tells Shutra to focus aura directly into his eyes. Shutra looks confused. Aura. He concentrates, squints, and suddenly gasps. "I see it." Caitlin squints. "The Crimson Light tribe is fighting over there, but who is the other army?" Chris shakes his head. "Those aren't General Bandel's forces. We didn't plan any attack yet," MC adds. "Plus, this is a full-scale war." He spots a girl leading them. "Wait, Dark Elves." Caitlin is stunned. "What Dark Elves?" Shutra points them out. "Yeah, look, they're smaller and literally riding freaking dragons into battle." "On dragons?" she asks. Chris looks grim. They are retreating right now. Their commander just went down. You and I are just as confused as Carrick right now. The elves are fleeing fast. What the heck are they even doing here? A bit later, they radio General Bandel. He laughs, saying he heard they secured a dwarven portal, totally praising Prince Chris. But he asks, how did you even know that portal existed? Chris immediately deflects. It wasn't me, General. The 9th Prince found it. MC humbly says he just got extremely lucky. But internally, he is actually super happy to see this crazy general again. Bandel laughs. Well, you'll get a massive reward back at the Demon King's castle. Then Chris gets serious. A massive battle broke out outside the Crimson Light tribe camp today. Do you know anything about that? Bandel sighs. Yeah, that was definitely the Dark Elves. Looks like they just decided to forcefully intervene themselves. Chris is completely lost. Why are elves fighting our enemies? Aren't they supposed to be reinforcements sent from the Demon King? Bandel groans. Hard to say for sure. Supposedly, they only wanted to run a quick scouting mission before intervening. But clearly something went horribly wrong. Chris leans in. What happened? Bandel answers. Looks like the Dark Elf leader's elite squad got ambushed and captured by the Crimson Light tribe. Chris nods. So that explains the fight. MC suddenly steps right up, interrupting them. Wait, who exactly is commanding this elite squad? Bandel replies grimly. You both know her perfectly. It's the 6th Princess Felicia Doomblade, your own sister. Daughter of Sylvia, the 3rd Queen and Dark Elf Princess, plus she's literally the twin sister of the 5th Prince, Sylvan Doomblade. Remember in the game, Felicia and Sylvan belong to the rival faction of the 4th Princess, Anastasia Necreon, so MC always viewed them as strict enemies. Why is Felicia here, trying to score cheap political points in battle? Chris scoffs. Do those Crimson Light idiots even realize they just kidnapped a royal princess? Bandel sighs. Honestly, who knows? We simply cannot confirm anything yet. Chris crosses his arms. So, what is the plan? Bandel answers flatly. We rescue her, obviously. Chris is shocked. Without even negotiating first, Bandel growls. We can talk if they initiate, but I'm absolutely not bowing down first. Understood. Bandel will gather intel first. But trust me, you're gonna want to see this rescue. Chris nodded. If anything goes wrong, he'll reach out to them. Understood. Stick with me, we're jumping straight into a crazy rescue. Chris figured their famous sister got taken hostage, and Caitlin demanded they save her immediately. But Chris shot that down fast. A rescue mission sounded nice, but it was basically a suicide run for all of them. Caitlin totally lost it. No way, they had to save their own flesh and blood. Chris scowled, brushing it off, which definitely made our main character suspicious. Cut to the enemy camp wolves surrounding the tents with demons lurking right inside. Chris laid out a very simple battle plan. General Bandel would bait the main Crimson Light tribe forces. Then they will flank the camp from behind. After that, Chris plans to charge the center and cause absolute chaos. Caitlin and Shutra, they'd each command their own separate strike squads for this. So MC asked the obvious. Are they saving Felicia? Chris nodded yes. Priorities first burn the weapons and supplies, then rescue Felicia. But if things go south, they retreat immediately. Losing more troops for Felicia wasn't an option. Caitlin screamed at her brother. He coldly reminded her who was commander. She yelled back, Felicia was family, how could he? Felicia's sloppy mistakes couldn't ruin the whole mission. MC watched them totally confused. Why was Chris dragging his feet on this rescue? Watch closely, this is where the chaos kicks off. A massive war cry echoed. Forward. Time to completely wipe out those Crimson Light fools. Up on the ridge, Chris stared down at the enemy base. He glared just as a massive attack launched their way. Bandel charged in roaring for absolute slaughter. Over with Shutra's squad, Karak was getting antsy. The fight started, so why wait? MC calmly said they needed the signal. Right then, as the orc brawl raged on, the call finally rang out. It was go time. The enemies were falling back. Chris locked eyes with the wolves and ordered his team to move out. Stick to the plan perfectly. Charge. They rushed down the hill, launching a brutal surprise attack. Caitlin warned Shutra to stay safe. He fired the same warning right back, whipped out the map, and yelled left to the ammo depot. Carrick roared in agreement. He ordered a massacre and rushed an enemy orc, throwing a massive punch. MC stepped in fast. A system window popped up, level 1 dagger throwing unlocked. Time to test his aim. He grinned. Carrick was shocked. Did the prince learn knife throwing? Shutra just played it cool. They had to hurry. Honestly, he just messed around with daggers yesterday and unlocked the skill. Karak pointed out the warehouse. They just needed to burn it down. MC nodded, and they pushed forward. But wait, what about Felicia? If they start fires, she might roast. He ordered them to find her first. Carrick was clueless. How do they find her? MC paused. Staring at his system window, he realized something. Felicia was a neutral NPC, so she'd glow blue or purple. Bingo, he called Karak over. The massive orc followed. Seconds later, they crashed right into a tent. He knew she was here somewhere, but where? Suddenly, a voice called out. Shutra, there was Felicia tied up in heavy chains. She stared at him, absolutely stunned to see him there. MC rushed over to bust those chains. He told her to hold still and save the questions because this place was a literal death trap. You and I know he's plotting something. Having a royal sister totally in his debt. Very useful. Felicia just stared at him. A few tense seconds later, they slipped out of the tent completely clear. She had to hurry back to Chris and Caitlin. Wait, were they really here to save her? MC played the good brother. Obviously. Why wouldn't they rescue family? Felicia scoffed. Simple. Shutra was basically completely ignored in the royal power struggle, so he wouldn't understand. Carrick suddenly cut her off. Prince enemies incoming. MC sprinted ahead, yelling for Felicia to follow. She agreed, then paused. Since when did he just use her first name? She spun around and screamed, "Watch your back!" MC whipped around, eyes wide with pure shock as raw mana blasted right into him. He yelled out as a massive flame suddenly exploded outward. Felicia screamed his name. A hulking orc lunged at her, and she desperately fought back. Suddenly, pure mana slammed into the monster's skull. Felicia turned totally bewildered. What was that? A new system window flashed up. Mana Control Level 1 officially unlocked. MC grinned like crazy as another alert popped. Fire Arrow Level 1 acquired. He started blasting orcs left and right, laughing like a maniac. Real magic, just level 1, and it was insane. Then he spotted ice. Ice, he glanced up. An archer had Felicia dead to rights. We'll pause here. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. Let's dive right in. Felicia checked on Shutra, but he shoved her back, yelling to stay away. Eyes wide with shock, she watched those ice arrows fly. He actually took the hit for her. Boom, another explosion hit and the system window popped up. Ice Arrow Level 1 unlocked. He laughed, yelling, "I knew it," but suddenly he choked, health plummeting to 13 out of 95. His health was tanking fast. Absolute nightmare levels. One more hit and it was game over. She called him a total idiot, frowning hard. Who asked the weakling to save her anyway? What? Arms crossed, she scoffed. He was literally the weakest sibling. If anyone needed saving, it was him. Shutra blinked. She totally misunderstood the whole situation, did she not? Glancing at the dead orc, she wondered when he learned magic. She actually thought he knocked out the mage to protect her. She ripped the arrow out and cast a healing spell. The gash closed up instantly, and boom, level 1, healing skill acquired. He stared in pure shock as his flesh mended. Felicia Doomblade was truly a genius-level magic user. She asked if he could walk. Shutra nodded. Thanks to her crazy skills, the bleeding completely stopped. What blood? She asked. He stammered in panic, but suddenly a massive screeching orc came charging right at them. Now watch this closely. Shutra realized it was a blood ogre, a completely mutated freak. She panicked, asking what that meant. They had to take this beast down fast. Right. They sprinted away from the hulking giant MC sweating bullets. How do you even fight that thing? The ogre threw a wild punch. What the hell? How is a giant that fast? Buy me time, Felicia yelled, prepping her magic to blast it. He panicked. How do I do that? Dodging a lethal swing, Shutra screamed back. Fine, he would draw its aggro, but she better hurry up. How exactly? She asked. Does not matter, he yelled, frantically calling out for Carrick to step up. Carrick shouted back. Shutra told him to use the same combo as last time. Carrick roared, fully ready. Opening the system window, Shutra confirmed he could finally equip that sick dwarven blade. Grabbing the hilt, he slammed it into the dirt. Activating the royal banner, crazy mana coated Carrick entirely. Surging with raw power, Carrick unleashed a massive battle cry and charged. The ogre stared in shock as Carrick swung his axe. Meanwhile, Felicia snuck up behind it, screaming grease. A slick puddle spawned right under the monster's heavy feet, dropping it hard. This is it, Karak roared, leaping onto the downed beast and stomping its gut with brutal force. You and I both love a clean combo, right? MC cheered out loud. The biggest threat was crushed. A brilliant flash of light surrounded him. The system window chimed in, he just hit level 10. Finally, level 10, he thought. Then a notification popped up. His protagonist customization tier leveled up. Absolutely wonderful, Shutra smirked. Thanks to the level 2 upgrade, a brand new passive skill dropped. Should he open the mystery gift? Battlefield Defense level 1. Thrown weapons aimed at the main character lose some of their accuracy. Perfect, Shutra grinned. It was basically the Stormtrooper effect. We have all seen that trope before. Bullets raining down everywhere, but somehow the main guy walks right through untouched. He just unlocked literal plot armor. Suddenly a horde of orcs swarmed in. Shutra, what are you doing? They will get crushed. Exactly, he smirked. Felicia instantly cast Wind, Whirlwind, and Fury. MC watched in awe. It looked exactly like magic, but something felt completely different. It was spirit energy. Broken logic or not, she was a dark elf, not just some cute mage. She was a natural-born spirit summoner, but wait, could that blast hit him? Carrick yelled about fire. Yellow meant fall back, MC ordered a retreat. Carrick was confused. Shutra panicked what was happening. Was someone dying? Carrick demanded orders. MC told him to grab the troops and get out immediately. He had to find Caitlin, but Carrick refused, wanting to stay with him. Adjusting his sleeves, Shutra made it clear that was not a suggestion. Follow the damn order. Carrick argued, but Felicia stepped up, going with Shutra. Trust me, you are not ready for this. Stick with me, guys, because Felicia hates owing favors. She told Carrick she wanted to pay them back, plus she wasn't done thrashing these pigs. Carrick eyed her and told them to watch their backs. Shutra agreed, waving goodbye. But Felicia hesitated. Did they seriously have to go find Caitlin? Our boy had no clue. Looking at the distress signal, Felicia wondered if Caitlin could actually lose. Did she? Shutra shrugged. If they didn't find her, they'd just head back. Felicia asked if he was worried. Obviously, she was his sister. Though secretly, he just wanted to keep his super strong ally completely safe. Felicia gave him a knowing look. Meanwhile, Caitlin was wrecking orcs, pushing forward at crazy speed. Boom! She blasted them away as the monsters shrieked. One swung hard, but she dodged and countered instantly. Shutra and Felicia just stood in the back watching the show. Felicia smirked, she knew it. Shutra realized they never had to worry. Spotting them, Caitlin turned and asked why they didn't retreat. He awkwardly mentioned they came to help, but clearly she didn't need it. Caitlin looked totally confused. She tackled Felicia in a huge hug, screaming how happy she was that she survived. Flustered Felicia muttered that she was fine, and Caitlin was overreacting. Watching them, Shutra realized these two were surprisingly tight. Now pay attention here. His system map popped up, more enemies were incoming. Time to go. The girls offered to cover their retreat while he led the way. Soon, they safely reached the portal hall. Crossing her arms, Felicia asked if Shutra actually found this portal. Caitlin proudly confirmed it. He practically won the conquest. Felicia was stunned, since when did he change? Suddenly Chris announced their return. Caitlin cheered for her brother, showing off Felicia. She then turned to Chris, mentioning it had been a long time. Chris scowled and greeted her coldly. Eventually, he added that he heard General Vandal also claimed victory. Apparently, that absolute idiot Yakuzan completely surrendered after seeing the raging fire. Shutra asked who that was. Caitlin explained, it was the Red Lightning Tribe commander. Did he seriously forget? Felicia asked if Yakuzan officially surrendered. Chris scoffed, not quite. The coward basically just ran away. He'll bounce back if he rallies his troops. Tomorrow they attack Kairam Kaichin's older brother. If he teams up with Yakuzan, that's bad news. Anyway, enough talk. How did Felicia end up there? Looking away, she claimed she was exploring nearby ruins, heard the battle, and jumped in to help out. Chris glared, asking if that was true. Why would she lie? They glared at each other until Chris finally backed off, saying she needed rest. Meeting adjourned. Everyone was exhausted. Caitlin just nodded in agreement. Shutra fought hard. Felicia stayed dead silent. Later during dinner, our MC sat alone, excitedly checking out his shiny new skills. He noted how useful they were. Sadly, in battle, he could only rely on his aura. Felicia approached, asking for a moment. He blinked. Wait, did she change her entire outfit? Ignoring his confusion, she stepped right up, grabbed him, and boldly told him to strip down. I know exactly what you're thinking, but no, she just wanted to properly heal his injuries. Still confused, he listened as she explained the dungeon was just first aid. Fearing internal damage, she started casting a proper full-power recovery spell right then. Honestly, he expected something totally different. Suddenly, Felicia pointed out his body was literally glowing. Was something wrong? He claimed it was totally normal. She didn't buy it, asking again, but Shutra completely pivoted to ask her a major favor. A favor? He nodded seriously, a special request that only Felicia could possibly fulfill. Soon, system notifications appeared. First level healing cured damage. First level poison cure completely removed the poison status. And disease cure handled illnesses. Shutra smiled to himself. This was actually pretty amazing. By getting Felicia to help, he basically copied 3 brand new healing spells. While she was casting earlier, the system practically gifted him the healing, poison cure, and disease cure skills instantly. Our guy was getting greedy. Later that day, Caitlin explained that there were multiple different schools of hand-to-hand combat. Finally, real martial arts. Caitlin announced they were starting with the legendary beast technique. It is the signature close combat fighting style, used by incredibly strong lycanthropes. This style is literally the foundation for the beast god ultimate combat technique. That is exactly why she chose to teach him this first. Smiling, she explained, it relies on both internal and external aura control. Today's lesson: mastering the basics of that sweet internal energy. Closing his eyes, he focused. And trust me, you'll definitely want to see what's next. Stick with me here. Our guy just closed his eyes and literally felt aura, life energy, linking right to his soul. Pushing it to the limit creates pure soul power. Suddenly, Shutra opens his eyes and bam, a glowing system window pops up. The alert confirms a wild passive skill level, 1 protagonist's constitution. It completely breaks physical training, boosting his learning speed. Plus, leveling it up unlocks even crazier traits. Shutra blinks. Protagonist's constitution. He wonders if the system just casually handed him another cheat code. He immediately remembers those epic game skills Archmage build Hero's Blood. He realizes these were Zephyr and Locke's passive abilities. Unlocking traits means the system keeps dumping brand new, overpowered functions into his arsenal at each level. Shutra smirks like an absolute boss. So this is main character privilege. Insanely cool. But then Caitlin snaps him back to reality, yelling at him to focus up. He quickly apologizes. Caitlin announces the real training starts right now. He's totally ready. Mana swirls around his body. Another system alert pops: acquired Beast Melee level 1. Caitlin is actually impressed he mastered the basics this fast. Shutra flexes he feels like he's holding a lethal weapon, even bare-handed. She turns ready to teach the next technique. Suddenly, a scout wolf bursts into the cave screaming for the princess. Chris frowns hard. Kyram's troops just vanished into thin air. Caitlin is totally stunned. Chris figures that idiot enemy actually figured out their strategy. Caitlin asks for the backup plan. Now pay close attention to this map. Chris points at a flag. Bandel says Yakuzan and Kiram are meeting right here. The terrain perfectly matches up. Shutra aggressively suggests they launch a decisive attack. Chris grins. They'll link up with General Bandel and wage absolute war on the Crimson Light tribe. That tribe is the main subjugation force headquarters. Bandel greets Prince Chris after his long journey. Chris smiles back, saying the general hasn't changed a bit. It's been way too long. Bandel looks away, admitting it's true. He hasn't seen the princess in forever either, asking how she's doing. Felicia cuts the small talk. How are her subordinates? Bandel promises they are completely fine. Shutra smiles, remembering he mained this guy in the actual game. So familiar, it's crazy. He approaches Bandel, offering a confident handshake. I am Shutra. Bandel stares in pure disbelief and just points a finger. He finally acknowledges the 9th Prince, Shutra. Suddenly, a vision flashes, a girl with odd eyes and another with blazing red hair. The Conquest War. Shutra snaps awake, wondering if it was a dream. He's seen that girl before, definitely, but who's the redhead? Karak interrupts, yelling for the prince to hurry. They're moving out, Shutra agrees, stepping outside. He remembers his position as holding the left flank. Bandel takes the center. Chris and Caitlin hold the right. The Dark Elves defend the rear guard. The massive march begins. Suddenly, he's right in the middle of an epic battlefield, surrounded by thousands of troops. Bandel glares, ordering the lines to hold steady. Time to teach these enemy idiots some real pain. He swings his giant axe, screaming charge. The fighters rush in, but an enemy orc just laughs in their faces. Boom, a massive explosion hits. We both totally thought this would be easy, right? Well, say hello to a swamp mammoth. The beast goes completely berserk, violently throwing fighters in every single direction. Shutra is shocked. The enemy knew their entire plan. A swamp mammoth. Sure, it sounds like an elephant, but it's completely out of a regular mammoth's league. Pure, concentrated, terrifying ugliness right there. Lizardmen step up next, weapons ready. Shutra panics. Chris realizes the horrifying truth: the enemy was just toying with them all along. Caitlin screams out, "Brother." She begs him to fall back. Chris hesitates, knowing a messy retreat could wipe out their entire army. They could all literally die here. Caitlin pushes harder. They are taking too many losses. Make a choice. They have to run. Chris finally orders the retreat. Mages need to build a defensive wall and hold the line. Everyone else starts pulling back. During the chaos, a lizardman spots Shutra and charges straight at him. He freezes in fear, but Karak flanks the monster, attacking from behind and screaming at Shutra to wake up. One mistake equals game over. Shutra snaps out of it. Karak is right, this isn't a video game anymore. Chris smashes an orc with his elbow and orders everyone to survive. So do you, and I think they make it. Let's find out. Let's jump right into the chaos. While the elves patch up our guys, Chris stares at the map, admitting he completely blew it. He should have seen this coming. Bandel just crosses his giant arms. What is done is done. Now they either run away or beg the Demon King for backup. Chris just scowls. Yep, his stupid pride is not worth getting everyone killed. But wait, Felicia throws her hand up, totally deep in thought. She actually came out here to snoop around the ruins, aiming straight for the peak of the Gishkov Mountains. Now our boy knows she is a top-tier mage, but even in-game she was not a fighter. She is all about exploration. Felicia claims she has been studying this forever. Apparently, the magma dragon Enkidu made his epic lair up here 1500 years ago, and obviously a fiery dragon hoarding treasure is going to attract some heavy-duty guardians. The local dwarves joined the defense squad, and Enkidu handed them some seriously crazy weapons as payment. Chris practically chokes. Weapons, she smirks. The Thunder Anvil. This insane relic does not just control mutant chimeras, it can literally buff an entire army with massive spells. Now pay attention, because this is their only shot at winning. Bandel asks the million-dollar question, where is it? Felicia just shrugs. No idea. Chris instantly gets mad. Well, that is completely useless. They are sitting ducks right now. He is definitely not risking his whole squad on some blind treasure hunt. Felicia yells at him, but then our MC steps up. The anvil is absolutely here. Everyone stares at Shutra. Yep, he remembers this exact quest from his gaming days. He completely lies, saying he read about it in Dwarven runes and that he totally trusts Felicia. Time to rack up those sweet affection points. But Chris is not having it. Trust does not win wars. If they waste time, it is game over. Man, Chris is stubborn. Shutra points at the peaks, dropping a fake legend. He smoothly argues that the entrance to these hidden ruins has to be somewhere super close by. If he just goes out to scout, he will find the spot. Guaranteed. He will take the heat if he completely messes up. Just give him one chance. Trust the process. Time to go all in. Next thing you know, they are literally surfing the sky on flying phantom horses. Shutra lets out a sigh of relief. Hey, at least he secured the right to actually search. Now he just has to deliver. Karak screams from the back, this is total madness. Hold on. He thinks the prince is gonna fall, but our guy is chilling. His old gaming main drove like this daily. I know what you are thinking, how is he gonna fake this? Well, with his mini-map, they are an hour away. Finding the actual ruin is easy for a gamer. But how does he guide them without looking totally suspicious? He rubs his chin. Whatever, he has got a whole hour to cook up a believable lie. Suddenly, Shutra blurts out that he secretly analyzed the tunnel maps near the portal, spotting a hidden pattern. By mashing up the local geography with those tunnels, he can pinpoint the anvil. Total genius, right? Did they buy it? Karak and Caitlin are stunned. Everyone is asking, what did he even say? Like, what does that even mean? Shutra panic laughs. Oh man, please just ignore that fake explanation. Surprisingly, Felicia steps up. Let him lead. He blinks. Wait her. She claims she totally understood his genius. He tries not to laugh. It was a complete bluff, but she bought it. All right, team, follow the prince. Felicia narrows her eyes. A bit later, Karak stops. Hey, we followed you, but this is a dead end. Are we lost? This looks nothing like a dungeon door. Shutra just chuckles. Who said we are using the door? Karak stares completely confused. Then our boy turns to Caitlin. Can you smash this rubble? She blinks at it. Can I? He nods. Hit it hard. Caitlin cracks a massive smile. Bet Felicia panics, begging him to say the prize is not hiding inside that rock. Shutra just smirks. Well, doing the gamer math, if we smash through right here, we completely bypass the dungeon guards. So, break the wall. Felicia absolutely loses her mind, screaming at him. Are you stupid? How is she supposed to punch solid rock? She is a girl, not a human battering ram. So what do you and I think happens next? Felicia sparks her mana explorers, always pack high-grade explosives. Let's dive right in. She blasts mana forward and boom, a massive explosion hits. Rocks fly everywhere as Felicia gasps in pure shock. Impossible. Did they actually find it this fast? What is this dome? Is the thunder thing inside? Shutra nods. Yep, looks like the absolute final defense. There is a literal anvil in there. Karak scoffs. So what? Just break it. Shutra says no, that is totally impossible. They cannot damage that anvil. There has to be a mechanism to open it. Felicia looks over and asks, hey, do these statues seem super weird? Out of 9 statues, only 3 have weapons. The other 6 are empty. Caitlin agrees completely. So maybe they just hand weapons to the empty ones. Felicia frowns. It cannot be that easy. These specific weapons are dwarf-made. That means the other statues need the exact same type of gear. Caitlin asks dwarven swords, where on earth do we find those now? Shutra just smirks. Well, funny story, he actually happens to have exactly 6. Felicia spins around and screams, what? Shutra's level was too low to use them, so they just sat in his inventory. He never imagined they would actually save the day in a crazy situation like this. Talk about insane luck. He basically hoarded them just in case while exploring those creepy tunnels earlier. Karak is baffled. When did he even grab those, and how did 6 huge swords fit in his bag? Shutra hates when orcs get too smart. He just laughs it off. Who cares? Anyway, Karak, these are super heavy. Hurry up and take them. Karak sighs at his fragile prince and grabs them. They place the swords right into the golem hands. Instantly, a massive bright glow lights up the whole hall. Look at that, the dome is finally opening. Shutra asks if that anvil makes thunder. Now pay attention here. Felicia tells him to wait. According to records, one final step is needed to activate it. One more thing, Felicia orders Shutra and Karak to stay put. The rest must take positions at 3, 6, and 9 around the disc. Then they pump their mana straight in. They start there and move clockwise. The amount of mana pouring in needs to slowly increase. Releasing her mana, she tells them to focus. It is starting. Everyone blasts mana at the anvil and Felicia yells at Shutra to push harder. Got it, he replies. She yells back, okay, keep it up, do not break concentration. Mana completely swallows the anvil. Suddenly a blinding explosion hits and a massive beam of energy blasts out of the cave. Shutra looks around, stunned. He sees tons of dwarves and a literal dragon. What is this? A booming voice echoes, my vassals. Heed my words. Shutra realizes the voice is from above. He spots the massive dragon. Protect the nest of the great Enkidu. Become the shield standing between the demon realm and the human kingdom. Shutra snaps awake in absolute terror, eyes wide open. He knows it was a black dragon, the legendary stone dragon of Enkidu. Felicia gasps, "Did you see it too, Shutra? A massive black dragon with pure lava for veins." Karak grabs his head. "You felt that too, right?" They all shared the same vision. Felicia agrees. She has no idea what it means yet. Turning back to the glowing anvil, she mutters, "But one thing is definitely certain. This anvil holds the truth." She touches the metal, and instantly terrifying dark mana erupts from it. It blasts at her, and she shrieks. Shutra yells, "Felicia, stop." He reaches out his hand, screaming loudly. Caitlin screams, "Shutra." Felicia. Karak yells. Prince Shutra roars as dark mana floods his entire body. Subjugation. The mana of the stone dragon Enkidu brings a brutal trial to anyone without proper permission. Subjugation is pure power. Soon, the dust clears and Shutra is on his knees, holding a black energy hammer. Someone whispers, "Shutra." Meanwhile, miles away, an enemy orc watches their camp through a monocular, laughing his head off. Are they total idiots? Did they seriously think hiding out here would save them? What is their genius plan now? Should we attack right now? Just give the order to strike. Yakuzan, the terrifying commander of the Crimson Light tribe, turns around. He orders his troops to ready up. They will wipe out the survivors. Suddenly the orcs look up. Massive, fiery projectiles are screaming right toward them. Explosions rip through enemy lines as mammoths charge the orcs. Chris frowns. Total nightmare. Neither Caitlin nor Felicia are here. At this rate, it is a wipeout. Yakuzan watches the chaos and just laughs. Stupid demons, he mocks. They poke their noses where they should not have, and boom, this happens. Serves them right. Finish the rest off. Kill everyone. An enemy mage aims his hand to cast but freezes. He stares completely puzzled. Why cannot he move? The mammoth's eyes change, turning on their own kind. "Trust me, you and I are gonna love." Yakuzan screaming. "What?" "Alright, stick with me because we are jumping straight into absolute chaos." Why the sudden attack? Chris watched, completely stunned. Did they find an anvil? Right then, we see Shutra on his knees gripping a massive hammer. He asks what it is, and Felicia reveals it's actually the legendary Thunder Hammer. It completely chose him. Our main character asked again while Felicia just screamed in disbelief. He stands right up. Time to use it. Looking closely at the hammer, Enkidu's incredible mana instantly shows him exactly how. To conquer. To subjugate. Forcing total obedience through absolute raw power. That is how the anvil literally gives birth to thunder. He swings it, targeting the swamp mammoths. Pure mana blasts into the air, supercharging the mammoths. Devastating blows rain down while the panicked monsters scream in total confusion. Why this sudden, brutal attack? An orc spins around only to get instantly rushed by Bandle. Looks like the swamp mammoths are completely turning on the Crimson Light tribe right now. He grinned, realizing the prince and princess actually pulled it off. Time to wipe them all out. He ordered his men to block every escape. Monsters clashed violently, while Yakujan completely freaked out. Why were the swamp mammoths acting so crazy? Another orc yelled that somebody had insane mana control. They needed to fall back and wait for an opening, leaving Yakujan totally stunned. Now watch this next part closely. Chris drops in totally unfazed. Surrender, and he promises them a quick death. Yakujan just furiously screams back. Swinging his huge weapon, the orc promised to rip him apart, but Chris unleashed his beast arts. The remaining orcs instantly scattered, panicking and screaming that their powerful chieftain had just died. They absolutely had to run. Wiping off the blood, Chris prepared to finish off the stragglers. Thinking about Shutra and Felicia, he knew they had completely saved the day. He just prayed they were both still safe. Meanwhile, Karak was glued to the viewing screen, basically begging the system for some answers. Was this really the swamp mammoth's point of view? Felicia confirmed the anvil could control guardian beasts. With the anvil in their hands, the entire Crimson Light tribe was absolutely doomed. Suddenly she stumbled sideways, and Caitlin barely caught her in time, completely terrified for her. Karak frantically yelled out her name. She quietly told them to relax, she just desperately needed a quick nap. Sarah nodded. While looking for a safe spot to rest, she suddenly realized Shutra completely vanished. Somewhere else, our guy sighed in relief. Then his system flooded with insane level-up notifications. He stared at the screen, totally shocked. Did his level skyrocket just from controlling that crazy relic? I know what you are thinking. A conquest level up. He checked his new skills, completely blown away. Even his royal banner buff had upgraded. Both his regular and his new conquest level. He did not totally get it, but making his main skill stronger was a huge win. Wait, what are King's Knights? Some kind of summoning move. Suddenly someone shouted behind him. He spun around to see Caitlin. He just ruffled his hair, acting perfectly innocent, leaving without a single word. She immediately punched him right in the head, screaming angrily. Seriously, what on earth was he thinking? Just vanishing like that. Shutra. He awkwardly apologized. Caitlin sighed, glad he was safe, but told him they really needed to return. It looked like they were stuck camping out here. Shutra asked why they weren't heading back. That was the plan, but a huge problem came up. Felicia had completely blacked out. Back at the cave, they realized she pushed her body way too far, escaping that vicious orc tribe. Right before she fainted, she promised them she just needed some sleep. But nobody knew when she would wake up, and without her magic, they could not summon horses. So they had to keep an eye on her here. He just prayed she would recover. Hours later, everyone was asleep. Sitting alone, our guy wondered if leveling up actually instantly refilled his stamina. It felt so strange. He was not tired at all, just waiting for sunrise. He stared at the giant doors, and it finally clicked. These were literal ancient ruins, right? That meant crazy hidden weapons and legendary treasures, plus all the deadly traps and guardians. Gripping the massive hammer, an idea hit him. What if he is the boss now? The anvil grants absolute power inside these exact ruins, meaning he owns this whole place now. Trust me, you are going to want to see what he does next. Stick with me here. Shutra wakes up Carrick for a secret midnight run. Exploring the dark dungeon, Carrick gets cold feet. Is it really safe to just break into this place? What if they get totally wrecked? Our main character just smirks. He rules this place, so why stress? He tells Carrick to think these are just empty ruins. There have to be epic weapons lying around. Suddenly, Carrick freezes. His eyes go wide as he points and yells about a massive monster ahead. Shutra stays totally chill. It is just a guardian golem shaped exactly like a griffin. Carrick is still panicking though. A golem Shutra nods but admits anyone else would just see an absolutely terrifying, overpowered beast standing right there. If they charged in completely blind, they would be dead instantly. Carrick begs him not to jinx them and pleads to just keep moving. Look at the size of that thing. Carrick wants zero part of fighting it. Shutra just laughs and teases his big buddy for being scared. Carrick defends himself. He is just careful. Going deeper, Carrick suddenly screams out that they finally found actual treasure. Grabbing a chest piece, Carrick shows off the incredibly shiny armor. Shutra has to agree. The gear actually looks top tier. Shutra inspects it closer and feels a faint trace of mana pulsing. Actual magic armor. He asks if Carrick wants to keep it. Carrick happily asks if he can really keep it. Shutra nods, saying the armor is way too massive for him anyway. Carrick bows and thanks his prince over and over. Meanwhile, Shutra picks up a shiny drop. Wait, are these literal ancient gold coins? Time for the golden rule of gaming. Toss everything useful straight into the inventory. He tells Carrick to grab every single valuable item. Spotting a mysterious chest, Shutra walks right up. But before he can even open it, a hidden door slides open nearby. What on earth is happening? Watch closely, guys. A secret passage. He grins, knowing there is absolute legendary loot waiting inside. Shutra steps inside. Walking past a long, dark corridor, they suddenly step out into an insanely massive hidden chamber. A strange voice echoes out. Shutra pauses. This mana feels oddly familiar. Even though it is brand new to him, the name instantly flashes right into his mind. Enkidu. This is the legendary Shaker Gauntlet. The mysterious voice rings out, welcoming the brave, conquering knight. Shutra realizes the legendary Shaker Gauntlet is literally calling out to him. Without hesitation, he steps right up and tries to grab it. Bam. System rejection. Level too low. Mana too low. Psychic power absolutely not high enough. Strength too low too. Shutra is shocked. He cannot equip it, but suddenly, the gauntlet blasts away the dark mana and completely overrides the system. Aloud, the system window flashes. The Shaker officially recognizes him as its rightful master. The registered user changes straight to Shutra. The massive gauntlet locks onto his arm, making him cry out in sudden shock as pain hits him. He slowly opens his eyes, totally stunned. Did this crazy weapon actually accept him? Boom, the system announces his strength, mana, and endurance all shot up by 10 entire points. Shutra is hyped. Just wearing it gives massive buffs. He calculates the math. Once he actually levels up, this gear will make him unstoppable. Way better than he imagined. The system confirms the item. Suddenly, Carrick asks what just happened. Shutra spins around in absolute panic, asking how long his buddy has been standing there. Carrick answers simply, he saw everything. The magic glove just appeared from nowhere. You and I know exactly what he is thinking. Total nightmare. If people find out about his gamer inventory, he is completely doomed. Carrick nods. Whatever that magic was, if people find out, there will be massive problems. Shutra gives him a nervous look, but Carrick smiles. No worries at all. This stays purely between them, a secret he will take right to the grave. Relieved, Shutra turns back and says they got all the loot they need. Time to leave right. Carrick admits this place is getting super creepy. The big guy just has a really bad feeling. Shutra agrees to head back. Walking through the storage room, Shutra suddenly lets out a loud shout. Hold up a second, Carrick. Carrick sighs, asking what now? Shutra points. Can he not see it? See what? Shutra grins, pointing at the exact item they desperately needed. Cut to a bit later, he feeds Felicia the potion and her eyes flutter open. Shutra smiles, asking if she is awake. She murmurs his name. Caitlin suddenly screams. Thank the heavens. Felicia looks around asking Caitlin what just happened. Wiping a happy tear, Caitlin quickly explains everything. Shutra managed to find a high-tier mana restoration potion. Shocked, Felicia asks where he got it. Shutra smirks. Did she already forget where they are? The ruins, Shutra nods proudly. Exactly. He reminds her he is literally the ruler of these ruins, so there is absolutely nothing to worry about. He tells her to just rest. Once she fully wakes up, her mana will be completely full. Felicia softly thanks him, making Shutra blink in surprise. Acting totally shy, she says thank you. A bit later, Vandal loudly shouts that the crew is finally back. He always knew the prince and princess would pull it off. He laughs, praising them. Suddenly, Chris clears his throat, awkwardly catching Shutra's immediate attention. Coughing again to look cool, Chris calls Felicia impressive. She just shakes her head, acting like it was totally nothing. Shutra smiles. So heartwarming. Then Chris says to rest while they clean. Wait, what? Makes you laugh, doesn't it? Stick with me, guys. Things are just getting crazy. Chris warns that the Crimson Light tribe will return in 2 weeks max. Shutra figures they get a 2-week vacation right. Caitlin shuts that down instantly. No resting. The main character is totally confused. They still have work to do. Suddenly, she punches him hard, screaming at Shutra to focus up before he gets himself seriously hurt. Get up. Our main character just lies there, gasping for air. He thought he was prepared, but this is brutal. Beast melee combat training, and Caitlin is not holding back at all. For 5 straight days, he's just a human punching bag. By week 2, he finally starts dodging. Then day 11 rolls around. He closes the gap. She notes he's finally getting it. Shutra just smiles, well, yeah, about time after taking so many beatings. Thanks to this absolute hellish training, his beast aura and melee combat skills have officially shot up to level 5. Caitlin nods. Soon he'll be ready for the legendary beast god combat art. Our main character is shocked. Really, honestly, even Caitlin is super impressed now. She's never seen anyone level up this fast. Smiling, he realizes he's actually learning the secret lycanthrope technique, the beast god melee art. Caitlin grabs his hands, ready to teach him a brand new way to control aura. She tells him to listen closely and catch every single detail. Got it, Shutra.
He smiles and nods. Holding hands, they release their mana. Shutra instantly feels Caitlin's overwhelming aura. She carefully guides his energy. It feels like beast combat, but way deeper. He starts sensing the true depth of the aura. Now watch closely. Aura is pure life force, and at its absolute peak, it becomes the ultimate power of conquest. To completely crush your enemies, you need this terrifying force. Suddenly, system windows pop up. His beast melee level has gone up again. His aura level jumps too. Caitlin is amazed he actually pulled it off. Boom! The system confirms he just acquired the beast god melee art level 1. Shutra stares at his hand in awe. He clenches his fist, releasing a massive burst of mana. The system dings, he hits level 14. He knows his journey has officially started. Meanwhile, Bandel secretly watches them from behind a tree. By the next morning, our main character asks a tricky question about Felicia. Caitlin looks curious. What's the deal with her and Chris? He thought Felicia was supposed to be a major ally, just like Chris is. But with their relationship looking this messy, it spells bad news. They aren't enemies, just weirdly distant. Caitlin thinks for a second, saying, there isn't any specific drama between them. Then what is it? She guesses it actually has something to do with Chris and Sylvan. Wait, Sylvan. Caitlin shushes him. He isn't here, but don't yell that name. The main character awkwardly apologizes. He's just shocked. That's Felicia's twin Sylvan Doomblade. Back when he played the game as Zephyr, that guy was a massive headache. Shutra pieces it together. Chris and Sylvan definitely have some major beef. You and I both know that timing is terrible. Chris suddenly barges into the tent. They freeze up, panicked, asking what happened. He's way early. Chris barks at them to pack up. Things move fast, so they are rolling out today. Shutra asks, where to? Chris just glares seriously. To report back that the mission is complete. Before leaving, Bandel shakes the main character's hand, praising the royals for a job well done. He can't wait until they meet again. Shutra agrees completely. Then Chris impatiently snaps, are they coming or what? The main character turns and says, yeah, let's go. Chris announces their destination, the Demon King Castle. We see the Demon King chilling in his hall. The trip back to his massive castle is actually pretty straightforward. First, they have to find a teleportation circle for ultra-long-range spatial jumps. Then they'll use transfer magic to beam straight into the Demon King Castle. The closest teleportation circle is still a 3-day trek away. No cozy taverns or rest stops on this trip, just another rough night sleeping under the stars. The main character quietly mutters the Demon King Castle. Knowing they arrive tomorrow has his nerves completely fried. Right now, the Demon King Castle is split into 3 deadly main factions. First is the second prince Zephyr Ragnaros, the king's second son and his ultimate arch-enemy. Then the first prince Baal Ragnaros and the fourth princess Anastasia Nekrion. In this brutal struggle for the throne, birth order means absolutely nothing. Whoever stacks up the most achievements and proves they are the strongest will always take the throne. That's their ruthless system. Half-brothers Baal and Zephyr are basically completely equal in raw ability. And that's where we leave it. Trust me, with their insane Dragon Clan bloodline, this throne war is going to be epic. Still, if picking a successor was required, the calm eldest son, Baal, seemed like the absolute safest bet here. Stick with me here because Shutra knew today changed absolutely everything. The choice meant nothing. He had to be fully ready. Step 1. Grind levels until he fully masters the Overseer role and absolutely maxes out his brand new powers. King's Knights, he shouted. Boom! The system window popped up. The King's Knights skill is active. A literal knightly order was born. Checking the system window description, Shutra totally thought this was just your average summoning type skill, or maybe even some massive guild system. Buffs knight training plus actual summoning. This skill is completely broken. If level 1 is this overpowered, how insane will it get later? Carrick stomped over, grumpy as ever. Found him, he yelled out in annoyance. Prince, why are you not sleeping right now? We leave super early tomorrow morning. Get some sleep. He strictly ordered the prince to just go to bed already. Shutra just laughed. Karak, perfect timing. How about we run a fun little experiment on you real quick? Karak blinked, totally confused. What experiment? RMC tapped his sword on his shoulder. Mighty orc warrior Karak, I hereby appoint you as my loyal knight. Mana coded Karak instantly. Prince, he gasped in pure surprise. Such a strange feeling. His loyalty skyrocketed. The system immediately confirmed it. Karak is now a level 24 knight commander and a private first class. Shutra grinned wide. Yep, that is exactly the awesome power I was talking about. Karak flexed. Getting stronger is great, but seriously, what is all this even about? Now pay attention here. Shutra grabs his shoulder. Karak, do you not want to be the strongest orc in this world? Just wait. He plans to turn him into the absolute mightiest orc emperor in the Night Saga. A beast fighting on equal terms with actual dragons. If this growth rate continues, Karak just stared at him completely blankly. Prince, are you feeling unwell or something? Later at the teleporter, Chris checked in. Well, are we doing this? Shutra nodded firmly. Yes, let's go. Stepping onto the teleport pad, our MC immediately panicked. He widened his eyes, begging to stop while zooming through a space tunnel before violently crash landing. Caitlin checked on him. Are you okay, Shutra? He groaned. Yes, I am fine. But suddenly a massive piercing scream echoed out. Felicia. A giant mob of elves rushed over, screaming wildly. We were waiting for you, beautiful as always, Lady Felicia. She gave them a bright, happy smile. Shutra just sweat dropped. Seriously, it feels like some massive idol fan club. Are these her actual servants and subordinates? Then another group happily yelled out, We were waiting for you. Prince Chris, Lady Caitlin has gotten even more gorgeous. Chris just smiled warmly. We have not seen each other in a really long time. How is everyone doing? Shutra chuckled nervously. Wow, so literally 0 fans for me. The elves just glared and asked, What was that? You and I felt that awkward silence, right? Yep, that is roughly his pathetic rock-bottom position in the Demon King Castle. He exhaled slowly. Well, whatever. Totally expected this. You ready for this, Carrick? Time to gradually change everything. Soon after, our MC walked into a dump of a room, completely covered in thick trash and cobwebs. Karak shrugged, guessing they can settle here. Shutra sighed. Well, at least we actually found a room. Thank goodness for that. By the way, the official events start tomorrow, Carrick noted. Until then, total free time to do whatever we want. Do whatever he says, Shutra grumbled. More like we have been left here to rot. Suddenly a sharp knock, a girl stepped right in. An honor to meet you, sir, she bowed. I am Flora Sevensword from the official Demon King Castle Property Management Bureau. The Property Management Bureau, Shutra, was super confused. What brings a fancy employee like you to this garbage hole? Your public service level skyrocketed, Your Highness, Flora explained. You now officially have the right to choose a brand new residence. Shortly after, another girl introduced herself. I am Isabella from the Public Service Department. I came to meet Your Highness. Wait, can I really get a new residence? Shutra asked. Isabella smiled warmly. Yes, you have come to the perfect place. Thanks to that epic recent victory, His Highness just hit merit level 5. Huge system windows immediately popped up for the 9th Prince Shutra Ignis. His total accumulated merits, a whopping 15,000. It also showed full details from his total extermination of that Crimson Light tribe. Isabella explained that because of this, His Highness now gets access to way more facilities inside the Demon King castle. Plus, his monthly allowance jumped straight from 5 gold coins to 500. He is the first prince ever to score this high on Mission 1. Shutra laughed out loud. Seriously, then could you show me all the available residences right away? Of course, Isabella agreed. Soon after, Carrick's eyes practically bulged out in pure surprise. Prince, and this is our new residence. Staring at the massive castle, Flora approached and noted they arrived early. Trust me, you will definitely want to see what is next. Carrick gives her this totally confused look. Her response: from today on, she's serving MC with absolute honor. The system window pops up, made Flora 7 sword. Honestly, she could easily run the whole house. Stick with me here. She actually follows the goddess of dreams. Carrick is so lost. Wait, wasn't she from a real estate agency? MC just brushes it off. He bought her contract with merit points, basically fancy currency you get for racking up achievements. Yeah, that's the gist of it. No need to overthink it. Carrick just sighs. His prince is talking pure nonsense again. Fast forward to the next day, Carrick is squeezed into a suit, sweating bullets. He literally tells MC he needs a bathroom break. Is it just pre-audience jitters? MC physically cringes. Gross. Just go do your business already. This whole conversation is making him anxious. Suddenly, Caitlin bursts into the room. Wow, you guys look absolutely amazing. Felicia flashes a smug smile. Who do you think picked these outfits? Caitlin literally screams. Felicia is the absolute best. She dramatically touches her cheek. Guess all that hard work actually paid off. Caitlin throws a quick wink. Shutra, you look incredibly sharp. The fit is completely flawless. MC says thanks, adding that they both look stunning too. Caitlin plays with her hair. You really think so? Thanks, Felicia, naturally agrees. Then Chris chimes in, completely changing the subject. Wait, is this Shutra's very first audience? Shutra just nods. Chris holds out his fist for a bump, telling him he is the absolute star today. Time to flex on everyone in the Demon King's castle. MC smirks. Sure, some haters think he got lucky, but soon every single eye is going to be locked on him. The hall is packed with elite demons. MC and his royal siblings finally make their grand entrance. MC smirks. Time for them to get a fresh look at the worthless prince they used to reject. Chris drops down to one knee. The 7th prince, Chris Moonlight, formally presenting himself before the supreme ruler of the demon world. The demon king Mithra sits on his throne, his gaze piercing right through them. The head butler announces, it is time to report the royal siblings' latest achievements. Pay attention here. The demon king himself, father to all these royals. MC almost forgot his terrifying vibe. You absolutely cannot underestimate this man in his own castle. MC tries to simply lift his head, but wait, what is this insane crushing pressure? Just standing in the guy's presence is suffocating. It feels like his bones are literally about to turn into dust. Then he remembers the words of the conquest girl. He can't back down now. He is a king too. He has to fight this suffocating stare and bend that crushing weight to his own will. That is true conquest. Pushing through the pain, Shutra finally lifts his chin and stares right into Mithra's eyes. Mithra addresses Shutra directly. The entire demon court is left completely stunned. The king actually says he's looking forward to his future growth. Whispers instantly erupt across the hall. What the heck is happening right now? His Majesty never uses names during these audiences. Not for anyone. So why name drop the 9th prince, the guy everyone treated like a literal ghost? MC realizes the king said it so casually, but it is a massive deal. No one has ever received this kind of direct acknowledgement before. That alone makes this moment absolutely priceless. Shutra bows, swearing he will do everything in his power to exceed His Majesty's massive expectations. And just like that, Shutra Ignis wraps his first audience, leaving an unforgettable impression on every demon present. Later on, a frantic scream echoes through their mansion. Prince, what are your orders? You seriously need to wake up right now. Shutra groans. What is happening? It's way too early. Carrick frantically yells an urgent letter from the public service department just arrived. MC grabs the envelope, totally confused. The public service department, why them? His eyes shoot wide open in pure shock. Carrick panics. What does it say? You and I know this means trouble. Read it. Shutra just stares, totally unsure how to react. Turns out the Demon King, his own father, just handed him a solo quest. Later, Chris inspects the official paper. A mission to pacify the wild Cassius herd. Basically a massive monster extermination job. Caitlin's eyes widen. Is he seriously heading out to the Anger Plains? Shutra double-checks. The Anger Plains, isn't that literal Centaur territory? Caitlin grimly nods. Yeah, it is. She and Chris actually trained there once. Chris explains that beating down the Cassius herd has basically turned into a routine annual event. He'd totally tag along, but their schedules are packed. Caitlin smiles. It doesn't matter, Shutra can definitely handle this by himself. Chris gets serious. Shutra, you have an audience now. People are watching. Some will try to suck up to you while others will see you as a major threat. You need to stay on high alert. MC nods, he already knows. Even Zephyr pointed out that getting name-dropped at the audience was a completely unprecedented move. Chris promises that if things go sideways, he shouldn't hesitate to call for backup. Shutra flashes a warm smile. Thanks, I really appreciate it, Chris. Before hitting the road, he definitely needs to treat Felicia to something nice. But she surprises him. She already prepared a little going-away present. MC blinks in shock. For him, a bit later he meets up with Felicia. She tells him surviving Centaur territory requires some seriously fast, reliable legs. She pats a massive riding lizard, telling him it's his. Shutra smiles and genuinely thanks Felicia. She says there's more. She hands him a dark elf tier pendant. Trust me, you'll definitely want to see what happens next. All right, let's jump right into the madness. She's handing him a sacred dark elf relic, an item you'd normally only get by assassinating Felicia herself. She reminded him that dark elves are super proud. They never forget a favor or a grudge. Then surprisingly, she pulls him into a tight hug, telling him to stay completely safe out there. Shutra just stared, awkwardly blushing. Honestly, she was terrifying him. He never expected Felicia to actually act cute. He started saying okay, but before he could finish, she shoved him away, screaming that it was nothing. Classic tsundere logic. Shutra figured she just realized how totally awkward that was. He waved goodbye, wishing her luck until they met again. The teleportation circle flashed and Felicia just softly whispered, okay. Fast forward and they finally touched down in the Anger Plains. Carrick complained about the trip and Shutra nodded in agreement. A new girl approached, bowing deeply to greet the ninth prince, introducing herself as Karma the Ranger, assigned to guide their party. Shutra smiled, saying it was a pleasure to meet her. But in his head, he was totally analyzing her. Half-human upper body mixed with the lower body of a beast. Karma bowed again, saying the honor was entirely hers. Yep, our guy realized she was a satyr. Shutra suggested they keep it moving. They rushed forward while Karma dropped some bad news. The Centaur settlement was still a solid 2-day hike from here. She planned on rushing there with 0 breaks. Was he cool with that? Shutra confidently agreed. But then Karma looked around, asking if he brought any backup soldiers. Shutra explained the sudden mission meant it was just the two of them right now. Karma stayed positive, noting that, since they had Centaur allies, waiting numbers wouldn't be an issue. Shutra immediately realized this was going to be a massive war. Now pay attention here, because Shutra knew a mounted battle meant his current weapons just wouldn't cut it. He needed something longer. A spear was probably his best bet. Suddenly he snapped around. What was that noise? Karma told him to hold up while she investigated. She dashed ahead, scanning the area. Oh no, a pack of Cassius. How on earth did those nasty monsters track them down so fast? The beast chased down a terrified guy, but right as he screamed, our hero instantly spawned in front of him, striking the Cassia. The shocked Centaur stared as Shutra casually smirked. Well, it seemed the welcoming party arrived early, but he really did not mind. Honestly, he was itching for a fight anyway. He powered up his gauntlet, basically daring those monsters to attack. The rescued guy gasped, who was this prince? Meanwhile, the leading Cassia shrieked loudly, charging straight into the battlefield. Shutra locked on to the biggest one. That had to be the boss. Karma frantically sprinted over, screaming, to check on His Highness. Carrick yelled out, warning him not to jump into danger, but Shutra just shouted back, relax and watch the show. Launching himself off the lizard, he went head-to-head with the massive beast. Time to test out that crazy martial arts technique he had been secretly grinding all this time. The beast roared, but Shutra instantly unleashed his explosive fist. Jaws literally dropped. One single hit, and the monster was totally obliterated. The remaining pack panicked and ran away, crying like puppies. Shutra stared at his hand. Did the shockwave actually amplify his aura output? That damage was way more insane than he predicted. He smirked. He was basically reaching Caitlin's power tier now. Karma hyped him up, screaming in absolute joy. One-shotting a Cassia like that pure flex, the rescued Centaur bowed respectfully, thanking the Highness for saving his life from certain death. Introducing himself as Swiftwind, a designated scout, he offered to personally escort them all the way to the Centaur camp on the Anger Plains. As they started walking away, the dead monster's body suddenly began glowing with strange mana. After a bit of travel, they officially entered the Centaur settlement. Shutra took in the sights. 4 distinct Centaur tribes populated these massive plains: Furious Wind, Rainstorm, Heavy Night, and Raging Flame. And out of all of them, the Raging Flame tribe basically rules the roost. Their boss is essentially the supreme commander, uniting everyone. Another Centaur stepped up, acknowledging that their journey here must have been totally exhausting. Welcoming them warmly, he revealed himself as Killing Gaze, the Centaur supreme leader. Killing Gaze, if you and I played the Night Saga game, we would immediately recognize him. Meeting this guy was inevitable, usually as a deadly enemy. Carrick whispered that the guy literally had a murderous stare. Shutra stepped up confidently, introducing himself as the 9th Prince. Getting right to business, he asked the leader for a tactical situation report. Inside the command tent, Murderous Glare dropped the hard truth. Honestly, things were looking pretty rough out there. The monsters should have stayed far north, but they randomly migrated south super early this year. Now their scouts were constantly monitoring the dangerous borders. Though some optimistic guys figured part of the monster herd just completely lost their way, Shutra's gamer brain kicked in. In the original playthrough, Murderous Glare was totally unrecruitable. Forging an alliance was literally impossible. The leader announced that in 3 days the entire 4-tribe army would rally. United, they could easily crush these monstrous beasts once and for all. He said he understood. But you and I know the question: can he actually rewrite history? Stick with me here. Murderous Glare steps up, demanding to know, did the 9th Prince really crush Akasha's skull in one hit? RMC just smirks. Oh yeah, it is totally true. He figures this massive centaur might actually make a solid ally. Shutra holds out his fist. He is more than happy to demonstrate later. Just like Caitlin and Chris, he realizes. Murderous Glare gives a firm nod. He cannot wait to see it. Stepping outside, they stroll right through the camp. Every single centaur is staring him down. Whispers break out. Is that really the prince who one-shotted Akasha's Carrick? Looks back, chuckling. Is His Highness getting famous here too? Shutra laughs it off. Obviously, it is all thanks to his undeniable charm and perfect virtue. Carrick sighs. Yeah, sure. He tells the prince to get some rest. Later, Shutra is out cold, snoring away until a strange light wakes him. Blinking awake, he realizes his glove is actually glowing brightly. Wait, is that the Earthshaker? Startled, he wonders how it even got on his hand. Suddenly, a mysterious girl appears, calling for Prince Ignis. She desperately needs his help. Thoroughly confused, he asks who she is. Her answer: a fragment of Watcher Ankle, the legendary Green Wind. Green Wind. He is completely shocked. That is literally the sacred nature spirit worshipped by both centaurs and satyrs alike. Back in his game days, Night Saga lore said her power made the entire Enger Plains bloom. In a flash, they are standing on a massive, beautiful plain. Green Wind explains this is her home. A fragment of her creator, Watcher Ankle, rests here. Shutra repeats it, totally stunned. Wait, he thinks. Watcher Ankle is literally one of the 6 elder dragons. Divine beings that players could never even meet in the game. Plus, he just got the Earthshaker Enkidu. Now watch closely. Staring at his glove, he realizes there are way too many coincidences here. But Green Wind interrupts. There is no time. The monsters of the north are attacking. He stares in shock as she explains they want to steal the plains' greenery. They will destroy everything and absorb her spirit. Only he can stop this. But wait, he is nowhere near a high enough level yet. She smiles. He already has Enkidu power, so do not panic. Blasting him with green energy, she promises Ankle will grant him insane strength. First, he just needs to show this sign to her children. Boom! He snaps back to reality in his room as the green aura fades away. Staring at the relic, he hears her promise that her children will assist him. Suddenly, Murderous Glare bursts in, demanding to know what is happening. Green Wind is in danger. Shutra steps right up to him. Crossing his arms, he reveals there is a small temple northeast. If she was right, the Kash's forces are about to attack it. Time is up. Gather the troops right now. They are moving out immediately. The chief crosses his massive arms, skeptical. They cannot just march based on rumors. But then his eyes go wide. That is the divine relic of Green Wind. He asks, what should we do? Soon the entire army is out on the field. Checking his mini-map, Shutra spots it. The hidden Green Wind temple is close. The structure starts glowing bright green. Without that system map, he never would have found this place. Buried deep in the wilderness. Suddenly, a centaur yells, "Chief, over there!" Seeing those glowing, angry eyes, you and I are probably wondering the same thing. How did Cassius find this spot? Murderous Glare looks out over the battlefield. Way more enemies than expected. He asked the prince for a plan. She told him to draw power from the ankle fragment. That means the real prize is waiting inside the temple. He states he is going in alone. The centaurs just need to hold the line. Murderous Glare understands completely. Charging forward, he yells for Carrick and Karma to follow. Karma screams out, "Yes, your highness." The chief turns to his massive warriors, hoists his great sword and roars. Nobody gets near that temple. Prepare for battle charge instantly. The warriors furiously dive into combat. Arrows rain down. The centaurs absolutely flatten the Cassius in their path. Smashing through the front line, Carrick shouts, "Prince, just make a break for the temple." Shutra nods. Right. Carrick pushes ahead, swearing to carve a path through anything. Facing two massive Cassius brutes, he swings his club, launching multiple enemies backward. Karma slices through the monsters effortlessly, earning a huge compliment from our MC. They are close, but trust me, you are not ready for the weapon flying straight at him. Stick with me here because things start off insane. Boom, our guy gets launched by a massive hit. The giant monster roars, locks eyes, and readies its wooden club for round 2. He lets out a heavy sigh. Damn it, he completely dropped his guard. But suddenly, Karak steps right in front of him, axe raised and ready. He yells back, "Prince, are you still in one piece?" RMC just says Carrick. The loyal guy glances back. "You need to get up, your highness. Way too early for a nap." The beast screeches, charging straight at them, but Karak swings his axe and blocks the strike. Our hero readies his weapon. "What's the plan, Karak?" Man, he looked incredibly cool there. But wait, there is more. He channels pure energy into his weapon, shouting, "Under the royal banner." Time to flip the script. He fires a buff straight at Carrick, then rushes right at the monster. With a fierce battle cry, he delivers a brutal slashing strike, immediately following up with another heavy swing. Smack, a direct hit to the head that literally shatters the ground beneath them. Carrick turns around yelling, "Go now, Prince, leave this to me." Our guy just nods. Okay. He sprints straight for the temple, bursting through the entrance seconds later. Immediately, Green Wind's voice echoes out. "Hurry!" He blinks in surprise. "Green Wind," she tells him the Enkidu artifact will show him the exact way. Sure enough, a weird glow sparks near his glove. The energy trail is pulling him way deeper into the ancient ruins. Following the light, he stops dead in front of a massive tree. Its branches slowly reach out, revealing an object that leaves him absolutely speechless. Wait, an actual dragon's heart, the ultimate mana source for all dragons. Now pay attention, this is where it gets absolutely wild. He stares in pure awe. So this right here is the legendary ankle fragment. Green Wind pops up out of nowhere. She explains that the Enger Plains only stayed peaceful because of the Watcher Ankle's lingering magic. And this very temple, it is the core of that magic powered by the fragment. If this place falls, the entire region is doomed. He needs to wake up the ancient magic sleeping inside to stop the destruction. He looks confused. The ancient ankle magic, back outside, Killian points his weapon dead ahead. Do not retreat, nobody gets inside the temple today. Carrick is already swinging away in the chaos while Karma completely holds her own on the front lines. Inside, Green Wind begs him, "Please, Ninth Prince, you have to protect the Enger Plains and her children using this ancient power." Without hesitation, our guy presses his hand against his heart. Suddenly, his vision shifts and he wakes up in a completely different dimension. A colossal dragon looms right in front of him. Watcher Ankle, she locks eyes, blasts pure energy at him, and commands him to accept it. Back in reality, a massive pillar of green energy explodes from the temple roof, shooting straight into the sky. Everyone just stops and stares. Carrick mutters, Prince suddenly glowing vines, and giant plant sprouts burst from the dirt while brilliant light washes over the entire battlefield. Then massive living trees, literal Ents, pull themselves out of the earth. They charge straight at Cassia's forces, throwing absolute haymakers. Green Wind looks up, a huge smile on her face. It is ready. Ankle's ancient magic is finally awake. She turns to our hero, beaming with relief. She tells the Ninth Prince just how incredibly grateful she is for his help. Thanks to him, the plains are saved. But then MC slaps his bare hand right onto the dragon's heart, making the energy flare even wilder. Wait, you and I both know this wasn't part of the plan. Green Wind panics. Why is he absorbing all of Ankle's raw power? He totally ignores her. His eyes glow pure, terrifying white. She flies right up to his face, screaming at him to stop before he dies. A mortal body cannot handle a dragon's magic. Nasty wounds start ripping across his skin, but then, ding, the system announces a sudden level up. Instantly, the fresh wounds stitch themselves back together. Green Wind just hovers there, totally stunned. His injuries are literally healing themselves in real time. Multiple level-up notifications suddenly flash, and then he hears a booming voice echoing inside his head. He needs to conquer this power, subjugate the ancient magic, bring it completely to its knees. Even if it is just an ancient dragon's ghost, he will make it bow. Suddenly, a massive blast of green light shoots straight into his heart, blinding absolutely everyone. The last traces of magical energy swirl around his body as he finally snaps his glowing eyes open. The system chimes. He just unlocked the passive skill Dragon Body Level 1. What an absolutely insane upgrade. But wait, there is more. He grabs Dragon Blood Protagonist Respect Level 2 and the ultimate cheat immunity to all poisons Level 1. He stares at the barrage of blue screens floating in front of him, checking out his brand new broken stats. Wait a dragon. It hits him. He awakened the legendary dormant gene. He can actually use ancient dragon magic now. He just became a literal dragonborn. Because of Zephyr's crazy draconian Asura hybrid bloodline, those hidden recessive genes finally kicked in and unlocked the ultimate prize. Greenwind floats down totally in awe. She tells him he genuinely inherited the true mind and physical body of a dragon. She feels Watcher Ankle's terrifying presence radiating from him. But honestly, she isn't even mad. This was a legendary power nobody else could even touch. 1,000 years of sleeping magic finally claimed. And trust me, you definitely want to see what Ankle's brand new successor does next. Stick with me here. Our guy just made a dead serious promise to protect the entire Anger Plains. Meanwhile, the chaotic battle raged on. The ants fought desperately until the massive monster boss swung his heavy weapon, slicing an ant clean in half. He roared, blasting his enemies completely away. Standing high on a roof, our main character finally spotted his target. Yep, that was definitely the orc commander. He leaped off the roof, dashed to his buddy, and yelled for Carrick. Shocked, the prince mentioned some unfinished business. The giant beast roared, but our guy instantly slammed it with his heavy gauntlet in a flash. But the boss wasn't slow. It swung its massive arm aggressively, tossing him aside. He skidded backward, admitting the huge monster was crazy fast for its size. The giant beast charged forward, swinging wildly, but our hero just backpedaled casually, dodging every single deadly punch thrown his way. Charging raw energy into his gauntlet, he dared the giant to try and block this next hit. Boom! He unleashed Explosive Fist, but just stared at his glove in pure shock. Was this monster's skin really that thick? The beast immediately counterattacked. Dodging back, he realized even a direct explosion did zero damage. This guy was way tougher than expected. Pushing energy through his body, he decided it was time to show off a brand new trick. Dragon's Blood. The system instantly announced that the Dragonborn unique skill was fully active. Now watch this part closely. He's about to bet absolutely everything on his weapon's true power. Energy surged into his gauntlet once more as he announced it was his turn. Carrick Knight Summoner. He smashed right through the defensive barrier and lunged straight for the beast. He landed a heavy strike, making the monster shriek. Our hero just told it to brace itself. Kicking off the ground, he leaped in, shouting that this time was different. He unleashed the Shaker's secret art, the devastating giant piston. Massive energy erupted everywhere around him. Everyone watched in absolute awe as the enormous boss crashed down from that epic hit. The system immediately flashed his level up. He actually beat the Drake boss, Ogre Mustafa, and proudly unlocked the Ogre Drake Slayer title. Staring at his gauntlet, he realized how much aura that took. Without that perfectly timed level up, he definitely would have passed out. I know what you're thinking, he mastered it, right? Nope. He couldn't even control the real ultimate yet. Crazy enough, the giant piston wasn't even the Shaker's final move. It packed an even deadlier technique. Karak suddenly rushed over, shouting that the enemies were fleeing now that their boss was dead. Meanwhile, the Centaur slashed through multiple orcs, pointing his weapon and yelling to charge escaping enemies just meant another future attack. Leave no survivors, kill them all, they chased after the retreating orcs. Soon after, the bloody battle ended and the Centaurs cheered loudly for victory. Greenwind floated over, joking that he looked like he was having fun. She asked what he needed, and he mentioned needing some answers. She agreed. Since he finished her quest, she would happily answer his questions. But first, could he free her? He looked totally confused. She explained that absorbing Ankle's mana permanently linked her magic right to him. Realizing the problem, he awkwardly scratched his head and asked for just a quick minute. She closed her eyes, then stared back in utter shock as he awkwardly asked how. Stunned, she yelled, "Oh, temporary overlord, you're treating this like an eternal contract." Did he seriously not know how? He bluntly admitted nobody ever taught him. She screamed. Then why fake it, sweating? He begged her to calm down while he frantically tried to figure out a solution right then. He asked about her current state, Touching her chest, she confirmed she belonged to him and must obey. No, he meant physically. Was she feeling okay or noticing any weird sudden changes? She replied that her abilities and overall condition were exactly the same. But there was a catch. If she vanishes, the anger planes completely die out because she is the literal living embodiment of Enkel's magic. Rubbing his chin, he suggested she just stay right here instead of following his journey. Looking confused, he said she didn't have to follow. She looked down, asking if he was abandoning her. Panicking, he waved his hands. No, that wasn't it. Wait, did Greenwind actually want to go with him? So what do we learn here? He's her master, and yep, she's definitely tagging along for the ride. All right, you and I are about to see if he just accidentally contracted a literal spirit. Wait, is she seriously the living embodiment of the massive anger plane spell? She nods yes. So he instantly asks if she can make a clone to take her place. She blinks, completely caught off guard. Taking a second, she admits it is totally doable. Perfect. That means she is coming with him right now. But there is a catch. She will be powerless for a bit since her energy stays tied to the planes. He shrugs it off, totally fine by him. Getting a contract with a top-tier nature spirit, that is a massive cheat code anyway. She calls him Lord. He tells her to hold up. First, how did Enkel actually die? Startled again, she explains she is merely a fragment. Being reborn through nature means most of Enkel's original memories are completely gone. But one memory survived. 1,000 years ago, she was murdered. Now pay close attention here. She was killed, but not by a dragon. Who on earth could assassinate a god-tier dragon, a beast with literal godlike stats? Before he can panic, she begs him to stop speaking so formally. All this polite talk is making her super awkward. Fair enough. So since he is officially Enkel's successor, does that mean he gets to absorb her ridiculous dragon powers too? She pauses to think. Normally, no way. But for him, it just might be possible. He already holds the power of Enkel and her polar opposite, the legendary Enkidu. If he manages to balance these clashing energies, he could totally steal the powers of every ancient dragon. He is stunned. Is she serious? Talk about hitting the ultimate main character plot armor jackpot. Smiling, he throws out one final question. Does she know anything about his own unique ability? She repeats that her memories are fragmented, so she only has pieces. Suddenly, she closes her eyes, glowing with blinding white light. Our guy squints against the flash, yelling out, "What is happening?" Greenwind's eyes snap open, glowing. She calls him the Knight of Conquest, destined by kings to rule absolutely everything. Strike with a king's power and the world is his. Fast forward a bit. Sunlight hits his face, waking him up. He stares at the giant tree, completely confused about what just went down. He remembers chatting with Greenwind. Right on cue, she floats over cheerfully, asking if her master is finally awake. Sitting up, he calls her name. She explains that somehow Enkel's leftover consciousness took over her body last night. That crazy energy surge totally knocked him out cold. The memories flood back Knight of Conquest King's power. It means Enkel already figured out his secret ability. Pointing right at him, Greenwind declares that he is officially her master for life. Because of that, she has some fresh intel to share. She waves her hand, projecting a glowing map into the air. I know what you are thinking. Hidden loot, exactly. She reveals an ancient Enkel relic is buried way up north. Just like Earthquaker, a legendary item packed with ancient dragon energy, specifically the Shield of Life. Over a millennium ago, Enkel gifted this insane shield to the absolute strongest Centaur warrior alive. He led his tribe through countless northern wars, wiping out enemies without taking a single scratch. But he wasn't immortal. The guy didn't take his shield to bed, and one night an assassin disguised as his lover fatally stabbed him. Since Enkel personally gave him this epic shield, literally no one else on Earth was allowed to use or even touch it. So his loyal followers buried the legendary shield alongside him in a hidden northern tomb. Centuries rolled by turning it into a myth. The Centaurs renamed it after the dead hero, the White Surrey. Hearing the shield's new name, our guy is completely floored. Wait a minute, the White Surrey? He thought that was just a myth from the Knight Saga lore. Not even hardcore veteran players could track down this ultimate shield. And it was actually a dragon artifact all along. Greenwind floats up asking if he knows it. He instantly replies, "Where is this tomb?" She says it is buried deep in the northern plains, but she needs to create her clone first before leaving. Hand on her chest, she promises to start right after they finish chatting. He asks for an ETA. She figures if he helps power the protective spell, it should only take about 2 days. So what do you and I take from this? In 2 days, the ultimate northern loot hunt officially begins. Let's dive right back in. Finding the White Sura was their absolute top priority. It would change everything. Out on the field, our guy hatches a plan. He'd head north pretending to hunt down those leftover Cassius monsters. But there was a massive catch. The Demon King's castle definitely felt that temple's protective spell go off. A ruin inspector was definitely coming. If the report went out today, they had barely a week before company arrived. He figured they needed to bounce fast. But right then, big guy Karak walked up to him. Crossing his giant arms, he dropped a bomb. Prince, the castle's people are already here. Our MC just stared, totally caught off guard. Wait already. Back inside the temple, Felicia marched right up. She took one look and asked why he looked so panicked. She crossed her arms, joking that he looked like he'd seen a ghost. Meanwhile, his brain was short-circuiting. Why was Felicia here? Closing her eyes, she cut the small talk. Time for introductions. He awkwardly gave a little greeting. Right then, Daphne stepped up. Giving a polite little bow, she said, meeting the 9th prince was a total honor. Daughter of the 5th concubine, Echo. He stared in absolute shock. A powerful druid born from a literal dryad. She was a crucial half-sister he needed on his side. Felicia quickly hyped her up as a top-tier druid, super handy since the Anger Plains guardian spirit was involved here. Daphne smiled, saying she was thrilled to help out. Now watch closely. He didn't expect this meeting, so making a good impression was absolutely vital. He turned to Felicia. Wait a second. Wasn't she supposed to be at the Jish Mountains studying the Thunder Anvil? She sighed. She was, but he finished his mission way too fast. He was drawing major heat now. He blinked, surprised. Honestly, she added, beating those Cassius wasn't the tough part. The insane part. He finished it in 2 days. Normally that takes 2 whole weeks. Add in the weird events, and everyone back at the castle was totally shocked. Anyone else would be interrogating him right now. So he asked, is that why she showed up instead? Blushing hard, she looked away. Not exactly. She was also just super curious about the temple's weird magic. Why were the Cassius acting so strange? Looking at her, our MC realized she was actually pretty soft-hearted beneath that icy exterior. He smiled and thanked her for worrying. Shaking it off, she asked about his next move. Plans. He smoothly lied, saying he was scouting the north to clear out any leftover Cassius stragglers. He just wanted the White Sura, but Karak ruined it loudly, declaring he was coming along. It was tribal duty. A tribe leader couldn't just sit back. Our MC awkwardly scratched his head, muttering that he guessed that made sense. Then Felicia chimed in. She was tagging along too. He stared blankly. Wait, both of them. She argued it was smarter to study living Cassius anyway. Defeated, he faked a smile. Sure, the more the merrier. You and I both know the truth. Hunting Cassius was just a fake excuse to ditch them. Karak casually noted things were getting complicated. Fast forward a few days, the Cassius actually showed up again. Total chaos broke out. Karak yelled that he called it they were completely surrounded by monsters. His gut instincts were dead on. The crazy battlefield brawl raged on. A Cassius unhinged, its terrifying jaws lunging straight for our guy. He gritted his teeth. Crap. Where did these things even come from? He whipped around only to take an absolutely devastating hit head on. Didn't they wipe them out already? Suddenly, flying Geist swarmed straight toward his face. Geists, actual flying monsters. This crowd was seriously terrifying. Pushed to the edge, he started pooling his energy. Guess they aren't the only ones flying. He launched up, triggering a level 1 wind blessing. His body turned incredibly light, moving at literal wind speed. Green Wind instantly materialized, yelling at him to wait. How was he using her magic? He shot higher, diving straight toward the monsters. Boom, an explosive fist straight to the face, sending the beast flying. Smiling, he warned them to stay out of his way. They had to die, Greenwind muttered about her existence. Down below, Daphne was trembling, clutching her chest in terror. She panicked, sprinting away as the terrifying Geist completely zeroed in on her. But Karak grabbed her shoulder, roaring like an absolute beast. He smashed the monster, blocking their path. Felicia summoned a glowing magic symbol, smiling. Perfect timing. And trust me, you're going to want to see this next. She blasted her attack straight ahead, wiping out a whole mob at once. Soon, the battlefield was completely covered in monster bodies. Let's dive right in. Felicia steps forward and asks Shutra if he sees that weird purple glow coming off the bodies. He blinks in total surprise. Oh wait, yeah, there actually is something glowing over there. Hands on her hips, she explains this is probably some kind of dark curse magic. He looks completely shocked. A curse. Yep, that purple glow buffs their strength but completely drains their life force in return. Plus it wipes out all their emotions. So yeah, definitely a curse. Someone is using this spell to totally control them. She shoots him a serious look. Our main character is stunned. Wait, didn't they already beat the commander? So who the heck is pulling the strings now? Carrick steps in, telling the prince to hold up. He points out that the spirit girl was totally terrified during the entire fight. Maybe it was her first real combat. He looks over at Daphne, realizing she is way less experienced than the version he remembers. Trembling, she mentions sensing terrified spirits. The further north they head, the heavier and creepier this dark aura gets. Greenwind floats right over to him. Lord, she can feel it too, a crazy dark energy pouring out from the north. Whatever is hiding up there is probably creating that purple glow. Now watch closely. Felicia tells Shutra their only bet is pushing all the way to the absolute northern edge. Murderous gaze crosses his arms. Why not scope things out from that big watchtower right on the northern border? He sighs, thinking he just came here for the White Surrey Mount. Things got way too messy. Fine, let's head up there. Soon enough, they climb the tower. Felicia squints into the distance and asks what the heck that is. A massive army, 200 or 300 strong. Only the undead roll in swarms like that. The main character freezes. Undead. Yeah, and crazy strong ones too. We are talking licked here. Suddenly, Daphne just flat out collapses onto the floor. Felicia yells out in total panic. Carrick quickly reaches his hand down to help her. Hey, what is wrong? Is she okay? Daphne weakly nods yes. Felicia realizes this dark energy is hitting them way too directly. Being half-spirit means she takes double the damage from it. If they really are facing top-tier undead, this squad is doomed. They need to fall back right now, but then she freezes in shock. Wait, someone is heading straight for us. He yells back in alarm. A glowing system window pops up right in front of him. Who could possibly be attacking them? Red dots suddenly fill his mini-map. What is that? Carrick stares out into the distance. Prince, you need to see this. He gasps. Carrick points out the incoming threat. A bunch of massive, flaming projectiles are rocketing straight toward their watchtower. We all felt that coming right. He grits his teeth. Damn it, he spins around and screams. It is a trap. Everyone bail from the tower. Boom! The flaming shots smash into the stone walls. The entire tower starts collapsing while the crew scrambles desperately to get out alive. Carrick roars as he sprints. Felicia quickly gathers mana, unleashes her wind control magic, and literally launches everyone up into the sky. They hit the ground safely. She immediately checks on him. Are you okay? He nods, brushing off the dirt. Yeah, perfectly fine. Deathglare jogs over, breathing heavy. He seriously thanks the sixth princess. They literally only survived that mess because of her magic. She brushes it off, saying there is absolutely zero time for thank yous. One quick look proves they are totally surrounded and outnumbered. They desperately need an exit. He walks up to her to plan, but yep, the undead have already boxed them in. She tells him to buy her just 1 single minute. She will find a way to break through. She immediately starts charging her mana. He watches her, thinking about how strong she is. Drawing his dagger, he vows to hold the absolute front line. Pushing his aura outward, he buffs his teammates and screams out. Under the royal banner, Deathglare stares at his glowing hands, totally amazed. What is this? The Centaur warrior yells that raw power is suddenly flooding his veins. Greenwind zips right over to our guy and asks the obvious question. Are you actually going to fight? He nods hard. Right now, putting all their trust in Felicia is the only play. Behind him, her magic aura flares up wildly. Pointing straight at the mob, he hypes the squad up. Everyone brace for combat. We are not taking a step back. Hearing that the whole team charges forward, absolutely smashing every single monster in their path, our guy pushes deep into the horde. He triggers an explosive fist attack, blowing those undead completely away. But boom, that weird purple energy wraps right around the skeleton. Damn it. The skeleton literally pops its own skull back on. He realizes with horror this loop is never ending. As the zombie wave rushes them again, he grinds his teeth. I have to find the hidden boss controlling these monsters, and fast. Will they snipe the boss? Stick around to find out. All right, let's dive right in. Suddenly, dark energy blasts fill the sky, and our MC is just standing there thinking, Purple flashes start slamming right into the centaurs, completely wiping them out. Carrick frantically yells, what now? Seconds later, absolute carnage. Everyone's wiped out as this massive boss casually stomps over them. Our guy ducks behind a wall, peeking out, fully realizing he just found the big bad. Has to be the boss, right? But suddenly a terrifying glare locks onto the giant monster from behind, ready to ambush. The beast just spins around casually, backhanding the attacker and sending him crashing straight into the dirt. Then Carrick steps up, wildly swinging his heavy weapon. He lands a hit, but his hands are literally shaking. The monster counters, instantly launching Carrick into the rubble. Seeing this, our MC finally jumps into the action. Charging up his gauntlet, he suddenly feels the green wind's power surging through him. Honestly, he's pretty thrilled he decided to show up today. This bonehead was totally done for. He throws a supercharged punch, but the monster literally tanks it. It swings back, slamming him right into the ground. Coughing, our MC grabs his chest, totally stunned, thinking, seriously, what is this guy made of? He's too strong. They are completely outmatched. Suddenly, Felicia steps forward, telling Shutra to fall back and catch his breath. Even the monster pauses in confusion while our MC desperately calls out to her. Summoning a whole row of glowing magic glyphs, she confidently announces that she's taking over the boss fight right now. Come here, you bonehead! Raw energy blast from her palms, immediately triggering a massive explosion right in its face. Valkyroba roars in pain. It swings hard, trying to crush her, but Felicia casually backflips through the air, launching a savage wind strike back. Now watch this closely. The monster aims and she smiles. Snap. A massive energy orb forms above her, splitting off to blast Valkyroba from every single angle. Watching this absolute flex, our MC realizes Felicia is way more overpowered than expected. Completely insane. She's basically soloing the boss. Benny suddenly looks over, completely shocked to see Daphne glowing with pure energy. She runs up asking if His Majesty is okay, and he's just staring. Daphne. She instantly activates the Dryad's blessing. Healing energy ripples outward, washing right over every single fallen teammate on the battlefield. Everyone starts getting back up, clenching his fist. Our guy gets hyped, recognizing that this is the signature broken aura of the Dryads. Daphne is finally pulling her weight, but then his jaw drops as a system notification pops up. Level 1 enhancement skill acquired. Magical energy starts swirling violently around his entire body. What the heck? He starts literally glowing, totally confused about why he's getting free skills. The system dings again. Level 1 Spirit Rescue acquired. The spirit's power has bonded with the user. Every single stat is now heavily buffed. Staring at his own hands, he can literally feel the raw, crazy power bubbling up inside him. Now, you and I know the game rules: a player can only equip one spirit, right? But suddenly he's rocking both life and wind. He just smirks proudly, claiming it's obviously because of his main character privileges. Meanwhile, Felicia isn't letting up, continuously bombarding the boss with massive fiery explosions. She perfectly dodges a sweeping strike from its giant claw. Charging up her next nuke, she glares, calling the beast an insolent idiot that must die. But suddenly her eyes widen as that massive hand completely blindsides her. Out of nowhere, Carrick screams, slamming his weapon right into the monster. Our MC finally jumps back in, telling Felicia she did an awesome job. She stares at him, totally shocked. Shutra sparks fly as he charges up his fist, telling her to step back and let him steal the kill. He unloads a massive explosive punch right into the monster, sending the giant beast crashing down. Carrick bursts into triumphant laughter, yelling that they actually won, but our guy just side-eyes him. Let's be real here. It was his punch that did the heavy lifting. Carrick just laughs, grabs his axe, and charges forward, yelling that he's taking the head himself. But a second later, he freezes, noticing some dark energy surging back up. A terrifying shockwave erupts straight from the boss's body, violently blasting Carrick away. Panic sets in as our MC screams his name, quickly throwing his arms up to block the dark aura. A dense blast of that shadowy energy smacks him right in the face, dropping him instantly. Seeing this, Felicia completely panics. What, sweating nervously, she desperately screams out, "No Shutra." Round 2 is starting. The monster slowly gets back up. Meanwhile, the green wind spirit is frantically zooming through the forest. She arrives at the exact coordinates, excitedly realizing she finally tracked down the legendary warrior's grave. Back at the fight, the boss looks away and Felicia is insulted. Summoning a massive ring of magic glints, she aggressively demands its full attention. "I'm your opponent." Compressing all that arcane energy into one spot, she unleashes an absolutely devastating triple blast. The beam fires off, but the boss literally teleports, manifesting right behind her back. And that's where we leave it. Valkyroba smashes into her panic barrier. She curses him out, and trust me, you will want to stick around for what's next. The massive boss just kept swinging. Meanwhile, the undead horde scrambled back to their feet, completely trapping Felicia. Stick with me, this gets wild. Our MC was still knocked out cold, but deep down a voice called out, "Wake up, master." No time for a nap. Startled, he woke up as green wind zipped right over, yelling at him to unlock Ikel's hidden power immediately. He was totally confused. How was he supposed to do that? She just told him to remember her original master. Then it clicked. A literal dragon heart was right there. He whispered 2 words, dragon's blood. Boom, a massive flash erupted. Felicia was running for her life when suddenly raw green energy blasted every single zombie in her path. The glow settled right next to our guy. He pushed himself off the dirt, staring straight ahead in absolute shock. He spotted the legendary shield White Suri. Green wind floated down and he instantly asked if she was okay. She revealed that since the fight started, she had been hunting for the exact grave where White Suri was buried. Yeah, ditching him was super risky, but she actually found the artifact and forced it to accept him as its boss. Grinning, he started to thank her. But Green Wind cut him off, save the compliments for later. Right now, they had a giant undead problem to smash. Now watch closely, because everything changes right here. The giant beast swung a massive attack. Our guy leaped away, screaming at the top of his lungs that this madness ends now. He saw deadly energy charging right inside the monster's jaws. Reaching his hand out, he yelled, "Why attack so fast?" Boom! A brutal death beam slammed right into him. Felicia screamed his name in absolute panic. Thick smoke blew everywhere. But as it cleared, our boy was still standing, holding his brand new shield up high. He peeked around it, totally stunned. Pure energy blocked everything. Green Wind hovered close. She explained that the Ikel fragment had turned him into a literal dragonborn, meaning he needed a serious power upgrade to match. "Can you feel that, my lord?" He stared at the metal as she confirmed it. 5,000 years of stored Ikel magic. He just smirked. Oh yeah, this was absolute madness in the best way possible. Gathering intense power in his palm, he mocked the giant bonehead. Time to drop the cool act because he was about to completely erase this guy. Staring down at his epic new shield, he decided to test it out. It was made for this. He hurled the heavy shield like a frisbee, crushing multiple zombies instantly. Felicia spun around, cursing in shock. You and I didn't see this coming. The huge boss roared and swung, but out of nowhere, actual metal wings sprouted from the shield. Charging up his fist, our guy launched himself straight at the Undead King, shouting, "Where are you looking?" Bam! He smashed an explosive punch right into its skull. Furious Valkyroba fired back with a massive barrage of flames, but our hero dodged it effortlessly, recalling the shield back. He threw it right back at the monster's ugly face. The winged shield just kept bouncing and bashing it endlessly. Charging his arm again, he unleashed a brutal piston strike. The king wailed in agony as glowing energy erupted from its bones. Stretching his hand out for the final blow, he announced that playtime was officially over. With a flick of his wrist, a blinding green laser shot down from heaven, blasting straight through the monster's skull. A massive explosion rocked the room. The system dinged, Skeleton King Valkyroba defeated, and yep, a sweet level up. Glowing with fresh stats, he let out a huge sigh. The boss talked a big game but went down like trash. Then a new system alert popped up. He just earned the epic title Level 1 Kingslayer. Felicia rushed over, totally relieved. "Shutra, we did it. The curse is gone. Let's escape while the leftover undead fight each other." He agreed instantly. Sometime later, the crew safely gathered around a cozy campfire. Staring at the shiny metal resting near him, Felicia asked, "Is that really White Suri?" He nodded proudly. A fierce warrior muttered how absolutely crazy it was that the old legend was real. While Karak happily munched on his food, Daphne sensed the shield's massive pure life force. If her magic senses were right, this weapon was still hiding its true potential. "Is that so?" he asked aloud. Inwardly, he realized the shield was nerfing itself just to match his current stats. He was super hyped to see his future growth. Crossing her arms with a warm smile, Felicia declared the artifact was officially his. She promised to keep it a secret from the Demon King's castle, telling him to protect it well. He smiled, grateful. Suddenly, the fierce warrior spoke up. "Ninth Prince," our guy turned. "Yeah." The warrior swore that from today on, they accept him as the true heir to the White Suri. If he ever needs help, just call. "So what do you and I take from this?" Our guy just secured a loyal army. He smiled, excellent indeed. Let's jump back into the madness. Everything wrapped up perfectly, but wait, our guy almost forgot the absolute best part of this legendary grave. The loot farming. A little while later, he stares at the sword in his hand. Time for the final pull. But suddenly, Greenwind yells out, "Hold up, he totally forgot to praise her." He just stares super awkwardly. She is absolutely pouting. How could he forget? Sweating a bit, he nervously laughs and apologizes. Giving her a gentle head pat, he tells her she did amazing. They literally won because of her. He is genuinely grateful. She huffs, saying she'll forgive him this once, but he owes her way more compliments. She shoves her hand out, so he keeps petting it, completely agreeing. Yes, she did incredible. The absolute best spirit ever. And just like that, the crazy Northern Region arc officially wraps up. But something is still seriously bugging him. Was Valkarova really causing that purple death energy? Why attack the north in the first place? And how the heck did he know about that secret shrine? Keep watching, we'll definitely uncover that crazy truth together. But right now, the crew heads back from the frozen north, and time just absolutely flies by. Killing Gaze gears up to lead his fierce warriors right up north. Weirdly, the mission to wipe out the Cassia herd is only starting now. He tags along with Killing Gaze, spending half a month wrecking the entire herd. Sometime later, Felicia stares at him closely. Has Shutra seriously gotten even stronger again? He just flashes a smirk. Obviously, he is leveling up. Then he asks about her own temple exploration. Pretty decent, she replies. Honestly, she found some massive clues. The magic protecting that temple. It came directly from Einkel, literally one of the 6 legendary ancient dragons. Our MC fakes it, acting totally shocked. She squints at his weird reaction. Wait, did he already know? What do you mean he dodges? I am totally hearing this for the first time. Even Green Wind calls out his suspicious acting. Sweating, he quickly changes the subject to the report. Fast forward to the Demon King's massive castle. Maids sprint over, screaming for the 6th Princess Felicia. Crossing her arms like a total boss, she looks at them. Yep, she is back. Is everything running smoothly? They excitedly nod, asking how she is and if she has eaten. Carrick mutters, this place literally never changes. Our guy nods, totally true. Then Green Wind starts panicking, crying out that her chest is pounding hard. Are they seriously allowed to just leave the anger planes? He sighs. Okay, maybe only his crew changed. She screams at him to promise he will not leave her. Meanwhile, Carrack scratches his head. Did they mess up? Our MC glances over, totally confused. Carrack notices the glaring maids, wondering why they are staring daggers at them. You guys are probably wondering who they are, right? These are loyal followers of Anastasia, the 4th princess, running a top 3 faction. Back during that huge massacre, her faction had the biggest numbers. Even Felicia and her twin brother Sylvan belonged to it. Seeing all these heavy stares, news of his insane anger plane's victory definitely reached Anastasia's ears already. He is just going to have to adapt. Hey Karak, we are about to get a whole lot more attention. Over at the public service desk, manager Isabel drops the news. His merit level just hit rank 10. His monthly allowance jumps from 500 to 900 gold, and he just unlocked way more VIP facilities inside the castle. The best part, the royal treasury is officially wide open to him. He chuckles, this is perfect timing. It has been way too long since he went on a massive shopping spree. Down at the armory, manager Igor welcomes the rank 10 VIP. Usually weapons cost rare merit points, but right now our guy can just straight up buy things with gold. Please take all the time you need, Your Highness. Stepping inside the massive vault, he tells Karak to pick out absolutely anything he wants. The big guy is stunned. The better his gear, the more damage he can do. Karak instantly sprints forward, yelling at him to wait up. Scanning the legendary items, our MC knows you never cheap out on gear. Spotting a specific piece, he nods. Now this is solid. Full resistance to literally every single elemental attack. But the absolute best feature, it is super light. Perfect for his beast god melee style. And yeah, it hides perfectly right under his normal clothes. Now for the final upgrade. Blacksmith Kador asks for his order. Since his fighting style relies heavily on crazy footwork, bulky armor is a total no-go. Handing over the custom blueprints, he asks about the crafting time. Kador crosses his huge arms, simple design done in 2 days. Trust me, you guys will want to see this new gear. All right, stick with me here. The blacksmith drops a bombshell. He recommends crafting with dragon skin and scales. Our boy is absolutely floored. Wait, what dragon skin? Is this guy joking? Where on earth is he supposed to find materials that insanely rare? But get this. The blacksmith smiles and says a massive shipment literally just arrived today. In the prince's name, he was just unpacking it. Hold on a second. Arrived in his name, our main character is totally lost. He didn't order any legendary dragon loot. Turns out Lord Ishgard himself ordered those epic dragon drops delivered straight to him. Ishgard. He's literally the absolute greatest swordsman in the entire Demon Lands. A true sword master, elder of the ridiculously overpowered Asura race, and the legendary warrior who personally taught Demon King Mitra himself how to swing a blade. Walking outside later, Carrick asks the million-dollar question, why is this living legend helping them? Our guy just sighs. How should he know? Karak is shocked. Even the prince is clueless, but hey, having the Sword Duke as a backer, that's a massive power-up. Sure, it sounds awesome. But why? In the Night Saga game, the Asura faction never ever picked a side. Is it because the Demon King noticed him? Before he can panic more, A messenger sprints over screaming about breaking news for the ninth prince. Our guy stares at the messenger panting. Whoa, what's the rush? What just happened? Tomorrow morning, an official royal audience. Plus, they are going to publicly recognize his absolutely crazy achievements on the Anger Plains. But get this, exactly 3 participants are getting royal honors. Our hero freezes. Wait, 3. Who is the third besides him and Felicia? The messenger drops a bomb. Second Prince Zephyr is back. Shutra completely panics. Now pay attention because this guy Zephyr is the ruthless prince destined to slaughter everyone, including him. Fast forward, sitting in the palace waiting room, our boy is totally spiraling. Karak asks if he's okay since he's looked absolutely sick since yesterday. He just lets out a massive sigh. His hands are literally shaking with pure fear. He knew he would have to face Zephyr eventually, but he never thought he would be sweating bullets like this. Classic gamer terror. Karak checks with a servant about the other prince's arrival today. The answer: the terrifying second prince is skipping the waiting room and marching straight into the hall. Felicia steps in sighing. She admits Zephyr is built completely different, and yeah, his combat merits are incredibly high. He looks up completely defeated. But Felicia smiles, telling him to keep his chin up. Time to show everyone what he is really made of. The royal audience finally kicks off, packing the massive throne room. Felicia and Shutra walk down the hall together as a servant loudly announces their grand entrance. Walking in, our hero is sweating. If he is already this nervous, how is he going to survive what's coming? Up above, Anastasia quietly watches from the balcony. He drops to one knee before the king, mentally hyping himself up. Time to cross this massive mountain. Then Isabella announces the final arrival. The absolute menace himself, second Prince Zephyr Ragnaro, steps in. Shutra and Felicia shoot him a nervous glance. Our guy gulps. Well, this is it. The actual main character of the Demon Lands arc, Zephyr in the flesh. Zephyr casually strides right to the center of the throne room. Isabella loudly declares it's officially time to review all the epic accomplishments of the royal siblings. And honestly, the second prince completely crushed it on his solo mission. As expected, Zephyr's track record is insane. His combat merits alone completely justify a royal audience. Then it's Felicia and Shutra's turn. Their crazy success handling that messy northern border issue instantly grabs everyone's attention. But you and I know that's not the real show. Boom, the Demon King drops a personal quest right on Shutra, shocking everyone. This is completely unheard of. Getting a direct personal mission from the king during a public ceremony, our guy is just staring, totally stunned. His mission: investigate the legendary Thunderdoom fortress way out in the Dwarven Kingdom. Apparently, miners accidentally busted open a path to Thunderdoom. He has to secure that tunnel and explore the spooky fortress inside. Isabella breaks down all the crazy logistics. He has to pack up and roll out in exactly 7 days. Lucky for him, he knows Thunderdoom inside and out. Back in his Night Saga gaming days, it was a massive dwarven stronghold. But then Isabella drops the bad news. This exact quest went to General Kashubal's 27th Exploration Squad. But Kashubal literally died during the run, completely failing the mission. Official reports claim the main cause was highly toxic poison gas. So basically, he must prep for poison, survive, and completely secure Thunderdoom Fortress. Shutra just sighs heavily. Seriously, what is actually going on here? Kashubal was a super strong dragon-blooded general. Why give our weak hero a mission that killed him? Why not hand this to Zephyr, who literally has dragon blood from his mom? Catching up with his sister right after Felicia totally agrees. Something about this is completely messed up. So what do you and I make of this? There's no way he angered their dad. Felicia points out the weirdest part. Normally the overpowered Zephyr would be soloing this exact mission. Let's dive right in. Karak figured if the general failed, this mission had to be insanely difficult. Felicia chimed in saying it was way too dangerous to handle this solo. He thought so too, right? He was totally speechless. Then, looking a bit shy, she offered to tag along. Sure, she is super busy, but for him, she can totally clear her schedule. Karak pointed out the prince had not even answered yet, so she immediately told him to shut up. MC just smiled, thanking her. Right then, Katarov walked up, telling the prince he really wanted to join this little expedition. He hoped his offer was not too bold. Would it be okay if he tagged along? Felicia gasped his name, but Shutra shot him down cold. The squad for this mission was already locked in. Katarov awkwardly scratched his head and backed off, apologizing. Felicia immediately turned to her brother. Why did he just do that? Having him along would be great, right? He is a rare male siren and totally highly skilled. He would be super useful. Shutra sighed. She was right, the guy is an elite mage, but secretly, he is totally Anastasia's spy. A complete fanatic, actually. His entire skill set is built around hardcore infiltration and espionage. Meanwhile, Kadyrov literally teleported straight back to the fourth princess to give her the full report. MC just smiled. You and I know exactly what this means. They are absolutely terrified of his next move. After hearing the update, Anastasia realized he was being way more careful than she originally thought. The trio then headed inside with Felicia asking Shutra if he knew anything about this Thunderbane fortress. He said he only knew it was home to those hardcore dragon-fighting dwarves. Carrick asked did they not guard Enkidu's treasures. The princess explained there are actually tons of dwarven states. Thunderbane Fortress belonged to a supreme dwarven kingdom. They basically went to war with dragons to protect their loot. They even managed to slay actual dragons, and honestly, regular dragons and elder dragons, two completely different beasts. Carrick looked at her like she was a superhero. Did that mean she could kill dragons too? She looked away, muttering that with enough time and gear, maybe. He immediately called her bluff, so she totally cannot kill them. She furiously pointed a finger right at his face, yelling, did he think dragons were just basic low-level mobs? Even that legendary dwarven kingdom eventually got wiped out by them. The orc laughed, admitting she knew her stuff. She proudly shot back that of course she did. Thunderbane Fortress is basically legendary when it comes to dwarven relic research. If they play this right, it is a massive payday. She was so hyped, Karak actually noticed her drooling with anticipation. MC just smiled to himself. They were totally hitting the jackpot. Let's pause a second. In the game, Thunderbane is a famous honey dungeon. Thanks to the Dragon War premium weapons and epic treasures are just sitting there totally untouched. Plus, this massive fortress is hiding something he absolutely desperately needs right now. A legendary weapon forged purely for slaughtering dragons. The ultimate counter to Dragon Blood, the Dragon Slayer sword. He literally needs it to defeat Zephyr, who has dragon blood. Securing this sword is absolutely non-negotiable. With that, they moved out. Standing right at the fortress entrance, Shutra geared up in fresh dragon-scale armor, asking if everyone was ready. Seeing their hyped expressions, he slapped on a respirator and announced they were going in. They stepped right into a massive tunnel completely choked with thick fog. Karak nervously noticed the fog getting way thicker. Felicia quickly corrected him. That was not fog, it was highly toxic mine gas. But this was way worse than she expected. There was zero time limit, so why not go slowly? MC completely agreed. Then Karak pointed out the weird color of the fog. Was it actually supposed to be yellow? Shutra spun around in shock. The orc violently coughed, instantly collapsing unconscious, right alongside another squad member. MC started sweating, totally clueless about what was suddenly going wrong here. As the gas closed in, Felicia cursed, yelling that the poison type had suddenly changed. She blasted a wind spell to clear it, but a split second later, a fresh, deadlier wave of toxic fog slammed right into them. Shutra's vision started fading as he called out to the princess. Then they all blacked out. The monsters here were just waiting for this. They casually strolled up to the squad, clearly completely immune to the toxic gas. Knocking him out isn't that easy. You and I just found the killers. He glared up. Did you take out General Kashabal? Let's dive into this wild Manhwa. The monster just stared in pure confusion. Then boom, a flying shield wiped it and the rest out. Green Wind told Shutra to hurry up. His fake feigning trick, totally convincing. He asked her to stop, then started clearing the tunnel. His flying shield instantly crushed the monsters, and he realized these idiots packed some seriously strong poison. He almost got himself killed. Thank goodness he had level 1 poison resistance. He ripped off his respirator, and instantly the whole tunnel started collapsing around him. He panicked, looking around frantically with zero clue what to do. A system screen popped up right in his face. He yelled that these pranks never end. Fast thinking, he ordered Green Wind to protect the rest of the squad. She nodded, totally getting it. Honestly, he had no idea what was even happening right now, but survival came first. They had to escape fast. He activated Dragon Blood, tossed 2 squad members over his shoulders, and sprinted down the map path like an absolute madman. He spotted the Thunderdoom Fortress entrance, instantly dashed back for the others, and Green Wind yelled at him to move faster. The situation was a total mess. He grabbed 2 girls, leaving only Karak behind in the crumbling tunnel for now. He told the big guy to hold on, then sprinted for the fortress entrance. After getting all the girls to safety, he exhaled hard. He turned to grab Karak, but out of nowhere, a massive roar. Now watch closely, things get crazy. The entrance completely caved in, trapping the orc. He rushed over, but Green Wind blocked him, demanding he calm down. Wait, didn't he have that spell from the Anger Plains? A genius idea suddenly hit him. Night summoning time. Right away, a spatial rift cracked open above his head. Seconds later, a confused orc head popped out before Carrick literally face-planted onto the floor. The main character immediately rushed over, panicking. He quickly checked his stats and let out a huge breath. Nothing serious. With the whole crew finally reunited, he could actually stop and think, what the heck just happened? Who were those freaks? He had literally never seen those crazy creatures in his entire gaming career. The girls were slowly waking up, but he still had one massive problem to solve first. He absolutely had to cure their poison before it was way too late. You and I both know peace never lasts. Monsters were already swarming. He cursed as one leaped at him from behind. Boom, an explosive fist smashed it to pieces. Seeing their buddy get absolutely obliterated, the remaining monsters suddenly hesitated to step up. Shutra raised his heavy shield and called them all complete morons. The beast just growled back. He lost his temper, telling them to shut their ugly mouths and attack together. Time was running out. He charged up his fist with raw energy and smashed the ground, blasting out a shockwave that completely vaporized the front line. Then Green Wind went wild. She gracefully darted through the horde, slicing them into literal ribbons. But they just kept coming. He roared in frustration, charged another strike, and attacked. Luckily, Felicia finally opened her eyes. Shutra had been healing her non-stop. She looked around, asking what happened. He just smiled warmly and told her to relax. Nothing crazy had happened. Once the poison was totally cleared, they launched a massive raid on the fortress. First stop, the Thunderdoom Command Center. But to actually reach it, they had to pick one of two totally different paths. One path was super long but safe. The shortcut, absolutely loaded with deadly traps. Felicia asked which way they were heading. He checked the map, figuring that if they wanted to survive this, the long route was best. Suddenly, a loud, repetitive alarm started blaring. Way too early to chill. Karak looked around, terrified, frantically asking what that noise even was. The girl explained it was a major alarm for a base attack. Shutra immediately realized this meant some other team was currently raiding the dungeons right now. Felicia was totally confused. Our guy immediately ordered Karak to step up, raise his massive shield, and lead them. The orc was shocked he was getting this job. Shutra just smiled, telling him to chill out and trust him completely. As long as the big guy followed orders, he'd make it out totally fine. The dungeon defense systems kicked in immediately. A massive stone dragon head started blasting roaring flames all down the hallway, but their heavy shields completely blocked it. Next came the classic dungeon traps, nasty spikes shooting from the floor to deadly wall arrows. It was an absolute gauntlet. Poor Carrick was totally exhausted leading them. Everyone else happily followed behind, thanking him while he cried that he almost died. Approaching the giant doors, Shutra cheered their speed. Trust me, you and I know this suspense. Mimi nervously told Lady Felicia that something felt completely wrong. Because the gargoyle's supposed to guard this room completely gone. All right, stick with me here. She finally agreed, and our main character suggested they head inside to poke around. Bam! A massive hall with a skeleton just slumped against the wall. Shutra instantly called out to Felicia when he saw the bones. She took one look and confirmed this was the final boss of Thunderbane Fortress. Poor guy was likely left completely alone to hold down the fort during the dwarven evacuation. Mimi suddenly shouted out, pointing straight at this giant orb sitting right in the middle of the room. Something felt seriously off about it. Walking over, she rubbed her chin, totally clueless. Did the dwarves actually build this thing? It definitely looked like it needed some kind of item inserted to power up. Our main character searched the dead body and told her he found a literal key. Felicia immediately figured out what that giant sphere needed. The absolute second she shoved the key inside, the whole thing reacted. A loud crackle echoed on contact. The massive sphere sparked like crazy and started glowing with intense, blinding light. Suddenly, a bunch of holographic screens popped up, broadcasting different rooms across the fortress. Shutra just stared in shock. Felicia grinned, saying the more she saw, the more this crazy dwarven technology absolutely blew her mind. Seriously, how advanced were these guys? Suddenly, a weird noise echoed through the room. Carrick whipped his head around while Daphne rushed to one of the monitors, yelling at them to look. An all-out brawl was happening super close by. Ugly monsters were actively trading blows with stone gargoyles. Felicia quickly asked Shutra if these were the same freaks he fought earlier. Karak realized they were heavily outnumbered, and our guy just scowled, trying to figure out their actual game plan here. Carrick spotted a massive shadow on screen and asked if that thing was a dragon. The main character leaned in, totally stunned. Now watch closely, because here is where it gets wild. In that giant hall lay a literal dead dragon with a spear shoved right through it. He realized they had finally found it. The masterpiece weapon itself, the legendary spear Ascalon, The black dragon Pazon was greedy, vicious, and absolutely massive. Basically, he was the main lizard pushing the front lines during the brutal war against the Dwarven Kingdom. Pazon and his monstrous army relentlessly battered Thunderbane Keep until they finally smashed the outer wall. Breaking inside, Pazon led the charge, flexing his absolute raw power. But that cockiness was his fatal mistake. Pure arrogance literally got him killed. Spark, the absolute strongest warrior of Thunderbane Keep, took his shot and buried Ascalon into Pazon's chest. But when the dragon dropped, his army completely lost their minds. The dwarves had zero choice but to run. So Thunderbane Keep became a massive graveyard for Pazon and countless fallen dwarves. Carrick pointed and asked, "So that giant lizard is Pazon, and Ascalon is sticking out?" Shutra nodded, and Felicia immediately checked another monitor. She realized if those monsters were fighting down there, the idiots were probably trying to steal Ascalon. They really thought they could just attack them and casually walk away with the absolute ultimate prize. She was absolutely not letting that happen. Shutra asked if they really couldn't control that gargoyle guard. She sighed, saying it was super annoying, but their hands were tied. Those monsters had basically taken over control of the stone guard. Let's pause for a second. You saw that too, right? They hid behind a wall to watch the fight, and Felicia noticed the fortress lord had dumped his remaining power into that golem. Probably because it was an elite tier guard, she suggested they just wait it out. They dragged themselves all the way here for Ascalon. But things were looking pretty messy right now. But our guy completely disagreed this chaos was their perfect opening. She looked totally confused, so he explained that sitting around doing nothing was way too risky with all these variables. He instantly dashed out from cover, yelling at them to stay put and that he would return soon. Sprinting right past the gargoyles, he quickly checked his map. If he grabs Ascalon first, they win the upper hand no matter how this messy fight ends. If the dungeon's guardians actually win, they won't even need to fight. They could just easily sweep up whatever leftover monsters survived. And if the monsters win, they just check the vibe and decide whether to throw down or run away. He glanced at the map again. He was basically there and Pazon's giant corpse came into view, but he totally missed the massive golem looming right above him. The guard swung its heavy hammer, thankfully missing by an inch. The main character bolted with the angry golem right on his heels. Sweating bullets, he turned around and yelled that he really didn't want to fight. But the big guy ignored him and smashed the ground again. The golem paused, thinking it squashed him flat, but got totally confused when the crater was completely empty. Suddenly, green wind zoomed right past its rocky head, while Shutra literally surfed through the air on a shield. He called her GW and praised her perfect timing. She snapped back furiously, telling him to never call her that ridiculous nickname. He laughed, claiming abbreviations were the new trend. She screamed that she didn't care about fashion at all. Together, they shot straight toward Ascalon. Landing right on the dragon's rough scales, our hero stepped up to the spear. Up close, absolutely dazzling. "So what do you and I make of this?" He grabs the spear, ready to bolt, but get this, it is jammed. He pulls with everything he has, but nothing happens. "Stick with me here because things get wild." Gritting his teeth, our guy just dumps every single remaining point straight into strength. He screams, yanking the spear with everything he has. Suddenly, an insane, blinding glow erupts, catching the massive golem's attention right away. One final pull, and Shutra actually yanks the spear out. A blinding beam shoots into the sky, freezing everyone in their tracks, even some creepy hooded stranger. Now our main character wields Ascalon, an absolute masterpiece from the legendary Dragonslayer series. This was the giant spear that pierced the black dragon Pazon's heart, packed with pure resentment, hardcore determination, and the raging fury of Thunderbane Fortress's dwarves. Shutra grins, hyped about his victory, but suddenly the dead dragon starts moving. That hooded weirdo, totally a necromancer, and he just revived the beast. Pazon's eyes glow a terrifying red. He roars, sending everyone scattering in pure panic. Our guy is sweating bullets, screaming that this makes zero sense. Pazon died centuries ago, so how is he back? Spotting the necromancer, he thinks, "Who the heck is this guy?" Suddenly, the ground shakes violently as Pazon takes off. Now pay close attention here. The dragon towers over him, charging energy in its jaws, the terrifying purple death. Deadly streams of energy blast across the room, completely shattering the massive stone gargoyles into dust. One blast heads straight for Shutra, but green wind steps up and blocks it perfectly. Looking around, he is totally confused. Why is Pazon blasting out purple death energy? He glances back to check, and suddenly a massive golem drops right in front of him. Luckily for him, it is not aiming at Shutra but at Pazon. Charging straight at the monstrous dragon, the golem swings its giant hammer. Watching in absolute shock, our guy wonders why they are brawling. He runs back to his team where Felicia frantically asks what just happened. Wasn't that dragon super dead? He tells her some crazy necromancer just revived Pazan using dark witchcraft. Totally stunned, she asks why anyone would do that. He has zero clue either. What kind of insane conspiracy is this? He realizes the only thing he actually knows for sure, this is the exact same purple death energy from the Plains of Anger. He makes it clear that right now there is absolutely no time to joke around. They need to take it out fast before it fully forms. Felicia, looking confused, mentions its mana feels super unstable. But how can they even beat this thing? He figures a zombie dragon just has to have a hidden core controlling its mana flow. Smashing that core is their only win condition. Right then the dragon slams the golem down, charging up another mouth beam. Shutra spots this, mutters a curse, and frantically waves his hand. Run. The dragon is about to use its devastating breath attack. Can you believe this insane power? A massive stream of purple fire blasts straight forward, totally destroying the fortress wall and leaving a huge melted crater on the floor. Then dead silence. The monstrous dragon scans the area for enemies and unleashes an earth-shattering roar. Thank goodness our guy's team managed to take cover. Karak, sweating nervously, brings up that he said it was incomplete, quickly mumbling an apology. Nobody expected it to be this overpowered. Shutra stares at his spear, realizing this is really bad. The longer they wait, the stronger it gets. How do they even win? Suddenly, the spear starts glowing as ancient runes swirl around, completely morphing its shape. A rocky gauntlet with a deadly spike forms over his hand. Felicia is totally shocked. Did the weapon just evolve? Shutra quickly asks her to run distraction, feeling confident he can take the beast down. Felicia immediately jumps into action. She lobs a barrage of fireballs straight at the dragon, closing in and hitting him from every angle. The dragon roars in fury, completely overwhelmed by her attacks. That is when our boy sneaks up behind, sensing Ascalon's true will. He thinks he can one-shot this thing, but totally did not expect the monster to actually catch him sneaking up. Pazan whips his massive tail, launching Shutra straight into a wall with a sickening crash. His entire team instantly panics for him. Coughing up blood, he realizes he got way too cocky. The dragon moves in for the final hit, but out of nowhere, a huge crash shatters the entire floor. Shutra forces his eyes open, and there is the golem. Looking absolutely wrecked from the earlier fight, it somehow steps back into action. It swings its giant hammer, blasting the dragon with pure electricity, landing another massive hit before getting violently tossed aside. The furious dragon roars. The epic battle continues. Felicia and Green Wind rush over to help out Shutra. She immediately starts spamming healing magic, yelling that he promised he could handle this guy. Seriously? What was that? He quickly apologizes, but she cuts him off. That is enough. They need to retreat right now. They just cannot handle this crazy dragon. But he insists they can still win. He coughs up blood and she begs him to stop acting so stubborn. What can he even do like this? Well, you and I are about to find out. Alright, you and I know rushing a boss fight is a terrible idea. So he accepts her help one last time. Zero mistakes allowed. With absolute confidence, he summons Green Wind. He hops right onto his shield and surfs straight toward that massive dragon. Those two titans are still brawling hard. He tells Green Wind to take the absolute widest detour possible, keeping totally off the monster's radar. Right then, the golem loses its second arm. The dragon blasts it with energy, dropping the fortress defender completely. But wait, Felicia tags in. She replaces the golem, chanting a spell that erupts into a massive firewall under the dragon's feet. Meanwhile, Green Wind starts zooming around the beast's head, playing distraction. She zips sideways. The beast opens its jaws super wide to chomp her, and right on cue, she signals Shutra to move in. Because of that perfect bait, the dragon blood lets him sneak right up close. But his gut says he really needs to hurry up. Just one opening. That's all he needs. Exactly like that old spark of memory, the dragon finally snaps its eyes toward him. Too late. His spear is already there, stabbing into the dragon a second time and completely blowing its neck into absolute pieces. Felicia screams out in pure joy that he actually did it. The massive head hits the dirt. Bam, system notification pops up. Zombie dragon boss Partisan defeated. Our guy just leveled up multiple times. Catching his breath, he stares at his spear. Is this really the legendary power of a dragon slayer? Yep, the system confirms his dragon slayer title, but suddenly that creepy masked stranger just appears out of nowhere. The guy sneers, shocked that our hero actually won. Shutra whips around, pure panic in his eyes. Now watch closely here. He didn't even sense this guy coming. The stranger mutters that maybe just watching was a mistake without the second prince. Our main character realizes this is the jerk who resurrected Partisan. The stranger just shrugs, doesn't matter, he's taking all the leftover loot. The enemy's spear erupts in sick blue flames. He swings hard, Shutra throws up a block, and then an earth-shattering roar. Those blue flames shred through the walls, trying to incinerate the dragon's corpse and our entire party all at once. But nope, nothing happens. Our boy is so confused, the enemy's massive attack literally just vanished into thin air. The masked guy freezes up, coughs a mouthful of blood, and then slice. His body cleanly splits in two. Shutra is utterly speechless. Out of the shadows, an older gray-haired dude strolls up. Looks like he crashed the party right on time. Seeing this guy, our hero's eyes practically pop out. He smiles wide. Wait, no way! It's the legendary Swordmaster, the final living shield of the Asura Shrine. The literal mentor who trained Demon King Mitra himself. Swordmaster Isgard is a walking cheat code basically equal to the world's ancient laws. Unbelievably overpowered, but he was strictly a lore-only character. You literally could never meet him in the actual game. He was just flavor text. Even when Zephyr Ragnaros took the throne or Locke invaded the demon territories, this guy never once showed up. I know what you're thinking, a secret god-tier boss. Yep, the one monster the Demon King learned from Swordmaster Isgard in the flesh. He casually walks over to the princess, pointing out how much she's grown up. Then he just scoops her up, teasing that she was super tiny last time. She turns beet red and yells at him to put her down. He just bursts out laughing, saying she's still throwing tantrums like a little kid. While she's practically dying of embarrassment, Isgard asks Shutra about his gift. Our boy grins, super thankful for the awesome dragon skin. That stuff makes top-tier armor. Suddenly, monsters creep up behind him. He spots them at the last second, but then boom. Every single monster just violently explodes. Karak is so lost, but our guy yells they gotta run. Wait, plot twist, that mass freak is still breathing. A massive explosion caves in the entire fortress ceiling, but the crew barely repels the blast and survives the chaos. Isgard sighs, super annoyed by the noise, and asks if everyone's alive. Shutra nods while Felicia demands to know why things are exploding. Classic villain logic. What are these absolute idiots even trying to accomplish? Our hero replays the stranger's crazy rant. Was watching a mistake just because the second prince didn't show? That's super suspicious. The legendary Ascalon wasn't even the target, he totally ignored it. So what was the real prize here? Then it hits him. He tells Felicia the real target was actually the second prince. She frowns, demanding his logic. He points out that the spear-wielding maniac explicitly complained about the second prince being a no-show. Doesn't the timing of this ambush feel way too weird? It's been 2 solid weeks since General Cashubal failed his mission. It totally feels like they were setting a massive trap. Felicia's face goes completely dark. So what do you and I take from this? They totally killed the general as bait. Stick with me, we're jumping right back in. She frowned, crossing her arms. Zephyr normally handled these exact missions, so everyone expected business as usual. Totally possible, but why target him, and who even were they? Shutra noted that whoever was pulling the strings was clearly super careful and calculated. The guy even blew himself up just to avoid leaking any solid information. Ishgard chuckled, calling these stories fascinating. Felicia shot back, totally annoyed, saying this was dead serious. He shrugged. He was completely serious too. She just let out a massive sigh. Why was he even here anyway? Simple. The Demon King took a massive interest in the 9th Prince. Naturally, that made him curious, so he came to check things out. Our guy blinked. Wait to see him, the Swordmaster smirked. The Demon King never does anything without reason. If he pulled a wild stunt at the audience ceremony, there was definitely a motive. And now, looking right at him, yeah, he was starting to get the king's grand plan. The mood instantly flipped. Shutra tensed up as the Swordmaster held out a hand asking for a little trade. That offer caught everyone off guard. He quickly clarified, no, he wasn't asking to make him his disciple. He wasn't in that position. Plus, hadn't he already mastered the Beast God's martial arts? Felicia's jaw dropped. Since when did he learn a crazy technique like that? He totally ignored her panic, asking the guy how he knew. The Swordmaster explained that multiple crazy energies were swirling inside his body. He couldn't even identify what each specific one was. But get this, these forces weren't clashing at all. They actually blended together so perfectly that you could call it complete mutual coexistence. Long story short, he was officially very interested. Now watch closely, this is huge. He wanted to pass down some personal observations. Our guy stared, realizing this was completely unprecedented. Besides the Demon King Mitra himself, this legendary Swordmaster literally never offered pointers first. Gulping nervously, he bowed deep. He'd gladly take those instructions. The swordmaster just smiled back. Grabbing his shoulders, the man promised to teach him aura control and a few new moves. How he used them, that was on him. Suddenly, blinding light erupted from his entire body. The swordmaster announced that training had begun. Closing his eyes, he tuned into his aura. This felt way different than when he learned the beast god's hand-to-hand combat art. Raw energy surged, filling literally every single corner of his body. System alerts popped up fast, new skills acquired, Asura cultivation, Great Mountain and Wind God cultivation, plus pure lightning. The swordmaster grinned openly, calling his rapid progress amazing. He was mastering the technique way faster than expected. Lifted straight into the air, two neon energies swirled around him, making his team sweat with anxiety. Ishgard muttered in shock. No way. Was something like this even remotely possible? Those two energies twisted together. The Asura cultivation and the beast, God's combat art, actually started harmonizing into one. Stats spiked up, his constitution and poison immunity leveled up. Hitting level 300 meant he could push toward 1000. Boom, new constitution skill, harmony. And that S-rank beast, God art evolving. Then a massive beam of light shot directly into the sky. His entire aura shifted to pure glowing snow white. You and I both know it. Double S rank unlocked Asura's divine strike. He instantly face-planted into the dirt. Felicia freaked out, asking the swordmaster what just happened. The master was stunned. He only meant to teach the Asura cultivation, but this crazy kid just fused it with the beast, God's combat art. Totally on accident, too. Shutra gasped for air, his mind racing. Originally, the only S-rank art in this entire game was Locke's sword style. Now his own technique had evolved into Asura's divine strike. Ishgard stepped up, admitting the kid was way more incredible than he ever imagined. He tried to speak, but the swordmaster cut him off. No need to explain or spill secrets. He was just hyped about his potential. So did he have a name for this new move? Taking a deep breath, he confidently declared it Asura's divine strike. The old man smiled, clearly satisfied. A beautifully simple name, but a seriously good one. But as for today's massive power-up, better keep that an absolute secret for as long as humanly possible. He was already a walking magnet for drama. Zero reason to make the royal court even more paranoid and suspicious right now. Nodding along, he agreed that was the smartest play. Plus, their mission was basically done. Time to loot the place and finally get some rest. Felicia blinked. What exactly were they collecting? He just laughed. Was this really their first time raiding ancient ruins? So what do you and I learn? Snatch up the loot before the main expedition arrives. Let's jump right back in. He draws his blade, finally on the same page, suggesting a clean three-way split. But what exactly is the plan here? Felicia looks totally lost while Shutra just scratches his head, guessing they will probably stash it at the Demon King's massive forge. Ishugard admits that is not a bad idea, but with materials this rare, why not hand them over to a buddy of his? He absolutely swears by the guy's skills. Ever heard of Amida? Our main character is stunned. Felicia draws a complete blank, but her brother completely loses his mind. It is Amida Ignatia, the absolute best blacksmith in the entire demon realm, master of the final flame. Ishugard just smirks at that reaction. Of course, he already knew the guy was famous. In the original game, finding this blacksmith was a super rare hidden event. Rumor says Amida shapeshifts, constantly swapping between male and female forms. Some people even claim Amida is not just one person. Now listen closely, because this is wild. Meeting Amida is so rare that our boy only found him 3 times across 10 whole playthroughs. The Swordmaster is honestly just relieved he doesn't have to explain all that lore. He offers up Amida's current hideout, warning them to head over fast before the guy decides to pack up and move somewhere else entirely. Sure, the blacksmith is a total hermit, but dropping Ishugard's name will definitely get them inside. Shutra happily thanks him. Not only did he just score a top-tier martial art, he also secured access to a legendary forge. Talk about getting insanely rich in record time. After a quick breather, they sweep the treasury clean and march straight toward the archives. Felicia is super hyped, practically dragging everyone downstairs. She gets totally impatient, yelling at Shutra to hurry up and follow her. He lets out a loud sneeze, complaining about the dust. She smirks, asking if his curiosity is seriously losing to dirt. Carrick sighs, realizing the prince just hates ancient dwarven history. They step inside together. Felicia instantly dives into the shelves, excitedly shoving a perfectly preserved ancient book right into Delea's face. Dwarves do not mess around. Mimi casually tags along hoarding books. Carrick falls straight asleep. Our main character watches the girls having fun, stepping back to wonder how ancient this place is. They even have heavy stone slabs here, and conveniently, one clatters down right near him. It totally grabs his attention, so he picks it up and checks the carving. Wait, this looks familiar. Over there are Enkel and Kidu and the ancient dragons. And opposite them, the exact same woman who told him to conquer the world. He freezes in shock. Why is she carved on this thing? This slab has to be 1,000 years old. 4 humans, 6 dragons. You and I both know this means something huge. How are they connected? Bam Greenwind pops up right in his face, teasing him for looking so serious. He jumps and she immediately flies off, shouting to follow. Seems she found something epic. She leads him to a massive podium holding a giant book, Records of the Ancient Dragons. Opening it up, he realizes every single ancient dragon has a specific, fitting nickname. Enkidu held the sheer power of destruction, a total tyrant. Enkel was but get this, his rage was like cold ice, not fire. A deadly silent warrior who never draws his blade without a good reason. But if he does, his rage turns the world to ash. He keeps skimming the pages. Most of this stuff focuses heavily on Coltane listing wild legends and even the location of his secret lair. Then he spots a massive X over the Lake of the Sun. Is the Elder Dragon's hideout seriously resting right under that water? Smiling, he realizes why veteran players never found it. Greenwind aggressively pouts, annoyed that he hasn't praised her yet. Suddenly it clicks for Shutra. Is not that lake super close to Amita's hideout, the one Ishigard mentioned? He definitely said the blacksmith was camping near the deadly spider forest. That is right next to lycanthrope territory. He can easily track down Caitlin and Chris on the way, making this route absolutely perfect. He finally gives Greenwind her head pats, dreaming about meeting Amita and scoring Coltane's legendary Elder Dragon weapon. Trust me, this next trip is about to be a massive jackpot for him. They spend 4 whole days chilling in Thunder Fortress. Honestly, Felicia's energy is insane. Right up until they leave, she sits buried in the archives without showing a single ounce of fatigue. Stick with me here. Our MC spent hours digging for clues about those legendary ancient dragons. Sadly, the only info he dug up was on Coltine. But hey, it wasn't a total loss for our guy. Thanks to the Royal Knight's promotion, Karak got a massive upgrade. Shutra asked if he felt the power. The big orc flexed, checked his glowing aura, and grinned. He threw a few punches, smiling because their brutal grind totally paid off. He was officially a barracks commander now. Next morning, Felicia's fresh mission plan dropped right into the Demon King's castle. The message warned that General Kashubal's death, probably a giant trap just to drag Zephyr out of hiding. Time to roll out. But Felicia was obsessed with the fortress, shyly begging Shutra for a quick tour before hitting the road. She wanted to explore every corner, but he hit her with a hard no. The Swordmaster reminded them to find Amita before he completely vanished. Sightseeing wasn't on the schedule. He shoved her into the carriage as she clicked her tongue. Once settled, he gave Karak the signal to whip those horses. Staring out the window, he realized how many crazy close calls they just survived. But the epic loot from this mission totally outweighed all those massive risks. He couldn't wait to see Caitlin's face when she finally witnessed Asura's divine strike. He really wanted to show it off. 3 days later, a brand new expedition formed to track down the guys hunting Zephyr. Since he was the main target, Zephyr stepped up and took full command. Now pay close attention here. Inside the archives, he found a stone slab showing 4 ancient dragons. 3 were named Famine, Death, and War. But who was the 4th woman? Well, a knight once challenged this fiery dragon in the volcanic lands. The Knight of War told her to bring it on. Meanwhile, Shutra was grinding out his hardcore training. He launched a fire arrow, but it literally pulled a U-turn and blasted him in the face. Karak just stared, swearing he'd never seen such a crazy training method. Felicia was shocked, but our guy brushed off the pain. Shutra instantly spammed his heal skill. The system chimed in, level up. His mana control just got a massive effectiveness boost. Catching his breath for just a second, he smirked and jumped right back in. Karak muttered that this guy was totally insane. Felicia agreed, deciding to just let him grind since his magic was clearly upgrading. Non-stop hustle training by night, traveling all day long. Destination: the Spider Forest to find Amita Inagashi. To save time, they took a direct shortcut straight through lycanthrope territory. Suddenly, the carriage slammed the brakes. Lycanthropes totally blocked the road. They barked that the passage was fully closed and ordered them back. Carrick demanded answers. The guard growled back, claiming official royal lycanthrope business and commanding them to get out immediately. Felicia stepped out, calling out their suspicious behavior. The guard aimed his baton threateningly, asking if they were deaf. He yelled to turn around. She marched up, ordering him to open the damn road so she could see their leader. We both know where this is going. The angry guard mocked her, asking if she was some princess. She deadpanned a yes. He froze in pure confusion, totally stunned when she repeated her actual royal title. Left with zero options, he let them pass. Inside the camp, those guards got punished, sitting with their hands raised in defeat. Caitlin was absolutely thrilled to see her friends running over to ask what they were doing in the forest. Felicia scoffed, saying they should be the ones answering, that since her people literally blocked the road, Caitlin awkwardly fumbled for an excuse. Her brother quickly changed the subject, asking Shutra about flipping the Demon King's castle completely upside down. What exactly happened back there? Shutra just smirked, saying he was about to show them firsthand. He told everyone to step outside. Out on the training grounds, our MC finally flexed his brand new abilities in a sparring match against Caitlin. They dashed around the field at lightning speed, trading heavy blows and perfect parries. Boom! Their fists collided, exploding with raw energy and a deafening roar. Match over. Caitlin realized his moves didn't look like Beast God combat at all. She asked what that was, and he coolly revealed it was Asura's divine strike. Felicia proudly stepped up to explain the epic details. So what do you and I make of this? He actually fused Beast God combat with the Sword Lord's Asura cultivation. Absolutely insane. Stick with me here. Chris is absolutely stunned, asking why the Sword Lord even taught him this. Her simple answer, Shutra is just a genius. Caitlin practically bounces over to her brother, completely hyped up. It was incredible. She immediately begs to learn this crazy Asura divine strike too, but Shutra awkwardly shuts her down. He hasn't fully structured the move yet, so teaching it right now is basically impossible for him. Chris just shakes his head. A martial art that even the original creator cannot teach, that is honestly just completely ridiculous to him. Shutra laughs, asking if that is a compliment. Chris smiles, but internally he is sweating. Shutra's growth speed is honestly terrifying. If Chris wants to keep up, he has to train way harder. Back at the camp, Chris finally opens up. Seeing Shutra's insane progress earned his trust, so it is time to share their own secrets. But everything he says next must stay completely off the record. The most dangerous prisoner trapped in the lowest level of the Grey Tower has escaped. Shutra's mind races. The Grey Tower holds the absolute worst, most brutal lycanthrope criminals alive. If this guy was locked on the bottom floor, it has to be him. Chris confirms his worst fear. The escapee is named Gerard Moonlight. He is actually their uncle. Felicia looks totally shocked, having no idea they even had a relative like that. Chris explains Gerard was locked away 20 years ago, way before their time. Back in the day, he was an absolute powerhouse warrior belonging to the lycanthrope royal family. If he hadn't totally lost his mind, the royal throne would belong to him, not their mother. But the guy was obsessed with gaining power. The traditional beast god combat style simply was not enough for his ambitions. Now pay attention, things get dark. He chased forbidden powers, losing his mind until his madness became a walking disaster. Hundreds of brave lycanthropes actually sacrificed themselves just to subdue him. They were super lucky it all ended inside the palace, so the royals managed to completely cover up the bloody incident from the entire country. Felicia starts panicking. Is he seriously saying a monster that dangerous is just casually wandering around somewhere nearby right now? Caitlin tries to calm her down. The latest reports say their crazy uncle Gerard headed straight east. Plus, Chris adds that Gerard lost half of his aura during the escape battle, so there is really no reason to panic too much. Felicia realizes the east is the complete opposite direction from their camp. Meanwhile, Shutra asks if they have any clue where his final destination is. Chris admits they are still investigating, but it definitely looks like Gerard had outside help. Shutra's gamer brain instantly fires up, has the Zephyr side quest to free Gerard already triggered. Later that exact night, Gerard violently ambushes the lycanthrope camp. He lifts the last surviving guard straight off the ground by his throat. Speak if you want to live. Where is the legendary moongrass hidden? Meanwhile, Shutra suddenly finds himself staring at a weird new space. A stunningly beautiful girl appears right in front of him. Is this a conquest scene? What is going on, and where even is this place? Before he can react, the girl points at him, and a massive black hole rips open, violently sucking him inside. Shutra immediately recognizes the terrifying feeling. Is this the sensation of hunger? The next second, he snaps awake in his bed, gasping for air. He has absolutely no clue what that creepy black aura was. He cannot figure it out, but a deeply disturbing hostility still lingers in his bones. Why did the word hunger even pop into his head? He scratches his head in pure confusion, but suddenly Carrick busts through the door, screaming about a disaster. Startled, Shutra quickly asks what the hell happened. Carrick yells that an enemy just breached their defenses, a monster with a massive scar sliced across his left cheek. You and I both know who this is, right? He is blasting black energy, slaughtering soldiers barehanded, a scarred cheek and no weapons. Shutra instantly realizes who this nightmare is. It is Gerard outside. Chris and Caitlin step into a total bloodbath, staring at the destroyed guards. They curse out loud just as Shutra sprints onto the scene, yelling, "Wait, Chris, wasn't Gerard heading east? Why the hell is he here?" Chris is too stunned by Shutra showing up to even answer. Shutra snaps, demanding he stop hiding the truth. "Just tell the truth already. What is your real mission here?" Chris just stares at the dirt, completely unable to defend himself. Finally, Caitlin confesses that it is all because of the moongrass. Chris aggressively turns and curses her out. She refuses to stop explaining the moongrass was their real target from the start. They only learned of Gerard's escape later. Shutra's eyes go wide. The moongrass is an ultra-rare medicinal plant that only blooms once every 100 years. It is basically a legendary lycanthrope treasure. A consumable item with crazy healing stats so incredibly broken that it can revive someone hovering right on the very edge of death. In the original game Saga, you only got this item by defeating Chris and Caitlin, which means Gerard is absolutely here for the moongrass too, desperately trying to restore his missing aura. Suddenly, a massive beam of intense light shoots straight up from the forest, piercing the dark sky. Shutra spins around. That is definitely Felicia's magic. Tiny beams of light scatter everywhere across the battlefield. Felicia summons a massive wall of fire, blasting an absolute inferno to hold back the terrifying enemy. And trust me, you are not ready for this. She keeps fighting through exhaustion, but freezes and curses when Gerard lunges. Let's jump straight into the chaos. Watch how our boy swoops in, shielding her with his power. Tossing Gerard like a rag doll, he asks if Felicia's all right. Her response, a huge relieved smile. But Gerard isn't done yet, gearing up for round 2. That's when Chris and Caitlin jump in, ambushing this guy straight from behind. "Elaine moonlights kids," Gerard mutters. Then boom. The entire clearing absolutely explodes in a blinding, super bright blue magical light. Gerard is totally ready to strike back, but Caitlin furiously screams at him, calling him a traitor and demanding he surrender immediately. She actually throws a punch, and Gerard just smirks, noting she looks exactly like her mother. That completely catches her off guard. She freezes up, and Gerard instantly exploits it, landing a brutal punch that sends Caitlin flying before she violently crashes into the dirt. Completely terrified, Chris screams out her name, whipping around to check on his fallen sister. Out of nowhere, a massive, sharp-fanged beast lunges at them from behind. The monster lets out an ear-piercing roar just as Gerard casts a nasty spell called Withering. In a flash, he completely ambushes the totally confused crew. Our main character's jaw just drops. He's suddenly face-to-face with this screeching monster. Shutra hesitates for a second, wondering if this creepy dark energy is actually just raw hunger. Taking a quick look around the sheer chaos, he suddenly realizes he's trapped in Gerard's grip. Pumping out his magic, he launches a blast at Chris, sending him flying with insane force. Chris yells out in absolute agony and horror. Seeing this, Shutra desperately screams his name, completely clueless as to how this is even happening. Now pay close attention here. Gerard shouldn't be this insanely strong after years locked in prison. Right then, Gerard actually sneers, asking how they dare look away during his fight. Absolute disrespect. Shutra grits his teeth hard as Gerard brutally chokes him out. He's coughing his entire body, violently shaking, while Gerard just glares down like a supervillain and casts desecration. Pushing himself to the absolute limit, Shutra fights back desperately to resist the dark magic. Suddenly, boom, a blinding flash of light and a massive explosion rock the area. Chris is back, delivering a savage sneak attack right into Gerard's back. Shutra screams out in pain as Gerard relentlessly pumps destructive magic into him. But Chris fiercely yells at Gerard to stop fooling himself. He is the real opponent here. Clenching his fist, Chris dives right back into the fray, unleashing a flurry of rapid-fire strikes. The whole battlefield is glowing with crazy bright magic. And Gerard, he just gives him this twisted smirk. He chuckles, asking why his nephew won't even greet his uncle. Chris furiously screams at him to shut his mouth immediately. The royal lycanthrope Gerard died 20 years ago. This guy is literally just some dirty, escaped prisoner. You and I gotta see this. Our boy grips his golden sword, activating his royal banner. Chris is totally amazed by the blinding golden aura. He's completely shocked by this sudden, massive surge of inspiration. Is this actually Shutra's support magic? Pure energy is literally overflowing through his veins now. Surfing this wild power-up, Chris viciously strikes his uncle. Gerard even notes that Chris's speed just leveled up. Meanwhile, Caitlin pops up right behind him, absolutely bloodthirsty and ready for payback. She lands a massive punch on his back. He actually freezes in shock, slowly turning around with this insanely creepy glare. Not wasting a second, Chris screams from the sidelines, clenching his fists and hyping himself up for the next clash. A barrage of lightning-fast hits follows. Felicia is totally bewildered, admitting she can't even track their crazy movements. What is even happening? The battlefield is totally choked with dust from the impacts, but Shutra just smiles confidently, declaring the siblings are actually winning. They furiously keep pummeling their twisted uncle. But Gerard just laughs, saying they really are Elaine's kids, which means playtime is officially over. No more holding back. His eyes ignite with this terrifying fiery glow, and his beast lets out a deafening roar. The monster violently charges Caitlin, grabbing her head with its massive claws. She's completely frozen in pure fear, utterly defenseless as a series of heavy blows instantly follow. Chris completely freezes, realizing his sister is trapped. Then the beast brutally slams her head straight into the dirt. Spinning around, Chris frantically screams out her name. But Caitlin is already out cold, lying totally motionless in her blood. Chris completely loses it, screaming he'll murder him for this curse, but the monstrous beast easily swats him away with absolutely ridiculous force. He hits so incredibly hard that his body literally snaps a tree in half. The roaring beast lunges to finish off the collapsed Chris. But boom, Shutra steps up, deploying his shield to instantly block the attack. The monster actually looks surprised. Shutra desperately yells for Carrick to call the knights, and Carrick is already right there beside him, completely battle-ready. Drawing his sharp weapon, Carrick holds the line while Shutra flares up his magic, lunging straight at the enemy with glowing fists. He wildly casts Giant Piston. The confused beast just stares at his glowing hand for a second before unleashing another angry roar. And trust me, you're gonna love this beast god technique. Our boy absolutely wrecks the monster using a savage wild wolf strike. You and I are jumping right back into the chaos. The monster charges, sending Shutra flying while Carrick screams. Our prince is facing a beast dripping with dark magic. The monster smirks, soaking in the dark aura. Honestly, how is this thing still standing after a wild wolf strike? Shutra is barely holding on, shaking and coughing up blood. Meanwhile, the monster gloats, promising to finish him off for good this time. Caught totally off guard, Shutra just mutters a desperate no. But then he locks in. It is payback time. Using the beast god's secret martial arts, he lands a direct hit, leaving the monster totally stunned. That is right, our MC hits him right back with the wild wolf strike. The system chimes in. He officially learned the beast god martial arts and the legendary wild wolf strike. He is totally fired up, shouting that it is the monster's turn to feel the pain. The beast lets out a massive roar of agony as blood sprays from its mouth. It is completely baffled by Shutra using its own move. But Shutra does not hesitate. He drops an explosive fist right on its jaw. The monster howls in rage, wildly swinging its huge claws through the air. Shutra jumps back, threatening to blow its head clean off. But the beast just grins, and Shutra frantically yells for White Spirit. Next second, a dense fog rolls in out of nowhere. Once it clears, the monster has completely vanished. You saw that too, right? It actually ran away, but hey, multiple level ups just dropped. Shutra sighs. Big threat avoided for now. He immediately spins around and asks Felicia how Caitlin is doing. Felicia shakes her head. It is bad. Magic alone will not fix a wound this deep. Suddenly, Shutra clutches his own chest, groaning in agony. Felicia panics and asks what is happening. He realizes something awful. Her outside cuts are healing, but her internal organs are completely wrecked. Did she push her aura too far? Felicia is still totally in the dark here. She nervously asks if he is all right. Shutra is trembling all over, but he tells her not to panic. He just needs to rest, leaving Caitlin to her. Then Chris walks up, handing them a mysterious box. Felicia looks confused, asking what it is. Inside the box rests a glowing, magical flower. It is moongrass, the ultimate lifesaver. Without wasting a second, Felicia activates its power to save both Caitlin and Shutra. She grabs the glowing herb and carefully splits it right down the middle. The pieces melt straight into their bodies. Almost instantly, Caitlin snaps her eyes wide open. She finally wakes up, her deadly wound now glowing brightly. Felicia watches the light pouring from them. Suddenly, they literally start floating into the sky. Terrified, she screams Shutra's name. Stick with me here because Chris remembers a crazy legend about this exact moongrass. Long ago, the first Wolf King united all the lycanthropes and founded an entire nation. But a terrifying red dragon invaded. They fought a brutal 7-day war, ending with the Wolf King claiming victory. But that non-stop battle pushed him past his limits, and his mighty heart finally started to give out on him. With death knocking at his door, the king spotted a pure white flower. Following pure survival instinct, he swallowed it. Packed with moonlight energy, that tiny flower literally morphed into his brand new heart. Powered by this lunar essence, his life became permanently tied to the moon, earning him the legendary title of Moonlight. He guarded the kingdom for ages, but he was the only one to survive it. Generations of lycanthropes ate that same flower. Yet nobody could handle the moonlight like their king, and 0 new hearts were formed. That is the famous legend of moongrass. Yet here they are watching it happen to Shutra, a guy who is not even from the same race. A massive beam of light strikes right through Shutra's chest as he floats midair. The system reveals his unique traits triggered a special reaction, perfectly absorbing the moongrass energy. His eyes and body shine with raw magic. And get this, he now officially has 2 beating hearts. Flash forward a bit, he slowly blinks awake only to find Caitlin tightly wrapping her arms right around him. Blushing like crazy, he jumps back, yelling, "Caitlin, what are you doing?" They had just been spooning on a massive bed. That is where we leave it, Shutra staring at the door. Out of nowhere, her subordinates walk in. The queen steps right up, flashing a warm smile. She asks if they slept well, calling him the 9th Prince Shutra. Shutra is completely dumbfounded, staring at her. Because you and I know he has seen that exact face a million times playing the game. This is the 4th queen, Elaine Moonlight. She is the literal queen of the lycanthropes, and yep, Chris and Caitlin's biological mother. Elaine mentions she heard he saved Chris and Caitlin's lives. She asks him how she could possibly express her gratitude. He jumps right out of bed, waving it off. He says it was no big deal, just doing his absolute best. Elaine just smiles, telling him not to be so modest. What he pulled off definitely deserves some serious praise. Shutra awkwardly thanks her. Elaine decides that is enough small talk for one day, so she cuts right to the chase. Shutra stares in pure shock as she drops a massive bomb. She holds out her hand and asks if the 9th Prince wants to become the new Demon King. His jaw literally hits the floor. He asks what she means and she laughs, realizing the thought hadn't even crossed his mind yet. Honestly, looking at his underdog status until now, that totally makes sense. But watch closely because everything just changed. She tells him to seriously think about his next move, then turns and walks right out the door. Later on, Shutra realizes he has been out cold for 4 straight days. Green Wind pops right up to confirm it. She knows this because she has been watching him the whole time. He nods, asking her to kindly explain what exactly is going on. Green Wind reminds him that they are sharing a bed just to boost the healing effects. Shutra gets totally confused and asks what healing. She asks if he forgot about using the moongrass. He looks completely lost. Wait, he actually used the moongrass. The system suddenly reveals his protagonist physique, passive skill, plus a level 1 moon pill. He is stunned. Is this for real? Now that he thinks about it, a crazy new power just mixed into his aura. It feels exactly like he grew a second heart. He grabs his chest, feeling all that raw, magical energy flowing. Green Wind mentions what Chris said earlier. The closer they get physically, the more their life forces actually activate. She tells him to grab Caitlin's hand to see for himself. Shutra awkwardly turns to look at Caitlin. Wait, just hold her hand. He goes for it, and the second they touch, an insane surge of power wraps around him. Staring at his glowing hand, he is amazed. Green Wind nods. Thanks to the effects of that moongrass, the two of them are officially connected now. Later on, Chris catches up with our guy in the hallway. He drops an update saying nobody actually knows if Gerard is dead or alive. They lost some people searching, but they did manage to find Gerard's lower half and a piece of his upper body. Gross. Even so, Chris vows to keep hunting until he gets total confirmation. Shutra nods, agreeing that is definitely the smartest play. Right then, Chris casually brings up how he heard his mother made a massive proposal to him earlier. You and I know exactly what this means. Shutra realizes he is talking about becoming the next Demon King. Chris admits his own strength has limits. At best, he matches Sylvan. He has not closed the gap with Prince Baikal in 10 whole years. And compared to the second prince, that guy is an absolute monster. Chris says it is not even a competition, but Shutra, he could actually surpass them both and take the throne. Shutra is completely stunned into silence by this. Chris points out that Shutra has support from other races, and as a huge bonus, he is backed by the legendary Sword Lord. Who knows? Stack up enough epic achievements, and maybe the current prisoners will even get a full pardon. Shutra blinks in surprise. Prisoners! No wonder he has not seen any around. What on earth did they do to get locked up? Chris clarifies he is not forcing him to make a big move right this second. He just wants him to brainstorm, because having a solid game plan is way better than walking in totally blind. Shutra stays quiet, wheels turning in his head. Staring out the window into the distance, he whispers, "Demon King." Cut to a chariot rolling through the forest. Inside is the tough captain of the Bloody Wolf, Ludwig Manite. Elaine sits right beside him. She explains she knows the Demon King well, and the guy never does anything without a reason. Doing something spontaneous twice during an audience, never. He clearly saw some insane hidden potential in the Ninth Prince. They are father and son after all. Though honestly, Ludwig admits he does not get what is so special about the kid. Elaine laughs, calling him totally naive. Even if the son killed his own father for the throne, the Demon King would come back. It would just prove a brand new way stronger Demon King had finally been born. That is just how ruthless he is. Sure, it is a huge gamble, but having the Ninth Prince take over as the Demon King is their best-case scenario. Ludwig is shocked by this. But trust me, you and I know the demon world rule perfectly. The absolute strongest gets to decide everything. Elaine just laughed, confirming that was exactly how it went down. Looking out the window, she admitted the whole thing left her feeling both super annoyed and weirdly happy. Watch closely because you and I are about to see the real chaos start. Night drops and a squad captain is screaming to find their target. He had to be close. With those injuries, there was no way he got far. The monster squad hunting Gerard finally spots him just chilling against a tree. They immediately start hollering, "Hey, we got him!" Looks like he finally made up his mind. Was he taking their deal? Gerard pushed himself up and immediately activated his drain skill. A massive, blinding wave of energy blasts all the monsters right off their feet. Getting up, Gerard coldly announces that he accepts. It is time for a total reset. Right then, absolute pitch-black magic totally swallows his body. He knows this dark path is the only way to unlock a completely different ending. Fast forward a few days. Caitlin snaps awake in bed, grabbing her chest, totally panicked and confused. Thanks to Gerard, Chris headed back to the main palace. By the very next morning, the crew is marching straight toward the spider forest to hunt down Amit. Once they cross the twin bridges, they have to ditch the ride and sprint on foot. Meet Robin, a lycanthrope boar, who Chris brings in as their local guide. Shutra totally grills the guy. What is this forest actually like, and has he even been there? Robin confidently claims he visited just 6 months back, and it was exactly what he expected. Super peaceful. 0 monsters, 0 animals. Hearing this, Shutra actually smiles, feeling completely relaxed for the first time in forever. Now pay attention because here is where it gets crazy. They stumble into a clearing absolutely packed with random scattered skeletons. Everyone just freezes in pure terror while Robin spins around totally clueless about what happened. Shutra lets out a sigh. Classic anime logic, he totally knew it was a trap. He immediately scans the dead woods for clues. Hours pass, the sun finally comes up and the squad pushes deeper into the trees. Green Wind suddenly speaks up, saying she can literally feel the forest guardian spirit's energy. Shutra tunes into her magic as Green Wind reveals the guardian's power is dropping fast. The local spirits are terrified their protector is going to vanish forever. Shutra turns to Robin. Is there actually a guardian hiding in this spider forest? Robin explains the old rumors passed down for generations. Basically, it is a creepy local legend about a massive boss-level spider living way deep inside. Shutra thinks about those deep woods and quickly orders Karma to go warn the other lycanthropes about this mess. She does not hesitate. Yelling a quick confirmation, she takes off sprinting. You and I both know this is bad news. Green Wind looks up, sensing intense magic fading away, which means absolute disaster is coming. Evening rolls around. They pitch tents and get a campfire going. Shutra brings up what Green Wind said about the spirit losing all its power. What actually happens if it vanishes completely? Felicia chimes in, explaining there are basically 2 ways a spirit dies. Option 1, someone physically destroys the spirit. Option 2, the very thing it was sworn to protect gets totally wiped out. Basically, if the core source of the Guardian is completely erased, take Green Wind, she looks tiny, but she is super high rank. If her source breaks, she just gets weaker, not fully deleted. But normally spirits die when their core dies. You see this all the time with artificial guardians locked inside old ruins and dungeons. Putting it together, Shutra guesses the forest guardian is dying right now because someone definitely damaged its core source. Felicia nods, agreeing that makes total sense. But then she glances up at the sky, freezing. Hold on a second. She points out the completely wrong color of the moon. Suddenly, Caitlin drops down, screaming in pure agony. Nobody has a clue what is happening to her, and Shutra desperately dives in to hold her down. He begs her to snap out of it. What is wrong? But her eyes are just glowing with a harsh, terrifying magic light. Without warning, the entire camp erupts into absolute chaos, and Shutra is completely lost. Karak storms right out of his tent, screaming at the top of his lungs. What is happening out here? His own allies randomly start attacking him. Right then, Felicia yells her technique. Flash of light, a massive flare, completely blinds everyone. The whole squad is stunned. She is totally confused until her confidant yells that this is the doing of the spirit of madness. The spirit of madness. Daphne does not waste a single second. She throws her hands forward and instantly casts a counterspell. Immediately, the attackers stumble, completely losing their balance. As everyone hits the ground, Shutra keeps a tight grip on Caitlyn's hands and realizes she is finally back to normal. Carrick just stares, totally bewildered. What was that? Daphne warns them the spirits are gone for now, but it is super temporary. They have to find the real source fast. Trust me, you and I aren't ready. A huge roar echoes under the green moon, and Carrick just asks, what was that noise? Let's jump right back in. Daphne instantly senses the barrier dropping, while Green Wind confirms they are trapped in a massive illusion. This spirit is so ridiculously overpowered that the fake world feels completely real. Shutra curses, knowing they messed up just as massive bears and vicious monsters ambush them. He screams for the team to brace themselves. Then our boy throws a supercharged explosive punch straight into a monster's face. Chaos erupts. Everyone jumps into the fray, with Felicia unleashing her magic to shield her panicked teammates from the onslaught. Karak completely loses it, screaming at the prince that they are totally outnumbered. Swearing under his breath, Shutra orders Green Wind to scout from above. She gives a quick nod and takes to the sky. Up close, a blinding pillar of light reveals a literal giant. She gasps in total shock as the immense creature illuminates the entire forest. Shutra demands to know what she sees, while Karak begs for some good news for once. But then the glowing monsters suddenly turn around and start marching away. Shutra blinks in pure confusion as Mimi yells that they are retreating. While they try to figure out why the monsters backed off, Shutra catches a weird sound. Something is definitely creeping up on them. He spins around. Now watch closely, because this introduction is absolute gold. Thwack! A stranger smacks Karak right on the head. He yells out as Shutra stares in disbelief at a talking raccoon who suddenly gets defensive. The fluffball is offended. Did they really just call him a simple raccoon? The whole squad is speechless as the furry guy introduces himself as Amida, the Grand Master Protector of the Final Flame. Shutra awkwardly asks what exactly he is. Amida absolutely loses it, yelling about raccoon disrespect. Shutra sighs, dodging the question. He remembers that in the game, Amida's design literally changed all the time. Human, animal, whatever. But Amida is not having it and furiously demands to know who they are. Shutra just accepts his fate. This playthrough gives him a raccoon, and it is weirdly hilarious. Dropping the attitude, Shutra formally introduces himself as the 9th prince of the Demon King. Felicia steps up too, revealing she is the 6th princess, and explains they desperately need him and the Swordmaster. After a quick apology for the mix-up, she asks, what on earth is happening? Amida purrs, finally calming down to explain. Blushing slightly, he admits he moved to the Spider Forest a few months back to farm some rare crafting materials. He was supposed to chill here for half a year, but then a squad reeking of purple death energy violently crashed his party. Shutra freezes. Purple death energy, that sounds way too familiar. Amida asks if they know these freaks. Shutra nods, recalling their brutal clash while defending the guardians of the Anger Plains. Amida shrugs, guessing fighting is their main job. Shutra asks if he kept the local guardians safe. The raccoon smirks. The guardian owes him big time, especially with angry lycanthropes constantly roaming around here. He figured tossing up a quick barrier would stall them long enough to win. Shutra gives him a blank look, asking what barrier. Green Wind chimes in, sharing her vision to save time. She projects the memory of the massive giant smashing the magic wall to pieces. Shutra's jaw hits the floor. We're all thinking it, this is really bad. He stammers that the shield is busted. Amida grimly confirms only one remains. The worst part, the flame hunters are teaming up. The moon glows sickly green, and the forest spirit has completely lost its mind. It is all their fault. Daphne steps up, asking who they actually are. Amida reveals they used to be noble spirit guardians, but they got corrupted into insane forces of nature. They seriously think that if they manage to absorb the last flame, it will cure their madness and fully restore their original pure forms from the past. So they join forces with the creepy guys wielding that toxic purple energy. They keep leveling up no matter what. To survive, the Forest Guardian tapped into the world lines just to boost the defenses, but it backfired horribly. The Guardian merged with the world lines, and now everyone is trapped here. Felicia asks what happens if the flame dies. Amida shrugs helplessly, admitting this has literally never happened in history. But if the rumors are true, it probably means the literal end of the world. Shutra freezes in pure panic. Amida cheekily points out that they basically have no choice but to help him now. But Karak steps up with a smirk. Has this raccoon never heard that nothing in life is free? Amida blinks. Karak demands a favor for everyone. That's where we leave it. Trust me, you will want to see the fallout. Amida just stares at him, looking totally exhausted. What? He starts yelling. Does this guy even realize how screwed they actually are? All right, stick with me here. Karak snaps back, asking if he understands this absolute crisis. The final flame could die. Maybe it burns out and nothing happens. Who knows? But they were putting their own lives on the line too, so he better think fast. Amida is absolutely furious now. He grits his teeth, literally shaking with rage before finally snapping. Fine, he will do it. Just follow his lead. Karak laughs out loud, telling him he better keep that promise. Green Wind chimes in, saying not to forget about her either. The next day, he updates everyone who was knocked out this whole time. Caitlin and Sarah are completely horrified. Their past actions basically backfired, making things way worse than when they first sent Karma away. So he sends Robin back to warn the lycanthropes and call for backup. Ultimately, they are left alone in the dark forest, gathering in a tight circle. Amida explains the enemy attack pattern drops in two main phases. First up, the madness-infected monsters. These corrupted beasts will blindly crash right into their defensive barrier. Exactly. Hordes of crazed monsters are just trying to break the wall down. And thanks to their natural wild instincts, these beasts get totally brainwashed by the spirit of madness way too easily. So they seriously need to brainstorm some solid countermeasures fast. Sarah nods, surprised, but totally getting it. Then Amida drops the worst part. Phase 2 hits when a massive white giant shows up to completely crush the weakened barrier. This absolute beast is multiple mad guardians fused together. Honestly, it is way scarier than those dudes with the purple death energy. Now pay attention closely. It will rip a hole in the barrier, funneling the first wave into one spot for them to deal with. But here's the trick. If they stop the barrier from weakening first, that giant cannot actually break it. He knows this for a fact, having measured the enemy's strength over the last few days of relentless attacks. If the wall survives until dawn, the monsters pull back. Then they have 1 day to fix everything and repeat the cycle. Survive for just 2 days and they win. Hearing this, Caitlin instantly snatches the little raccoon up into a massive tight hug. He blushes bright red, staying completely speechless. Karak whispers that maybe Amida is secretly enjoying this way too much. Shutra asks why. Turns out Amida is totally weak to pretty women. Felicia smirks. But wait, did he mean 2 days until backup arrives? No, he reveals a much cooler, self-reliant reason instead. Right at the center of their final voyage, his newly crafted weapon is currently charging up. Once it is completely charged up, they will be able to totally blast that white giant away. Night eventually falls and the whole crew climbs up to their defensive structure. Karak stares at the heavy gear in his hands. An original Amida weapon, he has been hyped for this exact moment forever. Daphne explains wearing it on your head blocks the spirit madness entirely. Caitlin gladly accepts it and thanks her. Soon a terrifying massive rumble echoes from the dark forest. A shadowy wave appears, and Shutra instantly knows the enemy is finally here. A massive swarm of furious monsters and giants comes charging in, roaring loudly. You feel that tension, right? Shutra screams to take positions they absolutely cannot break through here. 2 days. They have to survive this entire time, saying that he tightly clenches his fists, ready for absolute war. A second later, the monster horde roars and violently leaps right at them. Felicia steps up, spinning her staff to blast them with pure magic. She exhales a deep breath of relief, suddenly remembering what Amida said. Once she grasps the true energy flow, she needs to use that custom staff. Doing so unlocks insanely powerful magic way beyond her current limits. She focuses hard and screams flame. A blinding stream of roaring fire pierces straight through the monsters, triggering a massive epic explosion. Shutra grins, calling her attack absolutely excellent. Now she can leave the front lines to him. He triggers his explosive fist skill, smashing the rushing monsters into screaming messes. Everyone fights like absolute legends, while an enraged Sarah screams, "How dare you!" Caitlin yells out that she is holding her ground. Meanwhile, Karak, wide-eyed, aggressively slams his heavy weapon down, sending blinding beams of holy light everywhere. He gasps in shock, realizing this custom weapon from Amida is seriously no joke at all. The brutal clash rages on. Watching from afar, Amida nods, admitting they are pretty good. He asks Daphne if that prince is named Shutra. She confirms it, and Amita smirks, noting his gear desperately needs an upgrade. But if they live, he will forge him something special. Down below, tons of monsters are completely wrecked, laying unconscious everywhere. Amita suddenly screams out, "The white giant is coming! Everyone, fall back to the barrier now!" Shutra yells, "Good, the protective barrier shuts. You and I are definitely staying for this fight. All right, let's jump right into the madness." A blinding beam of light completely illuminates the area, shocking the boys. A massive giant spawns, and Shutra just smirks. So this is him. He is absolutely gigantic in person. Without hesitating, the massive beast starts violently hammering their protective barrier, trying to smash it. Carrick is totally speechless, realizing this absolute unit could wipe them out in one single strike. Amita tells the crew to chill out, swearing the shield will hold up. They just have to wait for him to vanish. But the giant just keeps relentlessly bashing the shield while the guys watch in dead silence. Suddenly, Shutra senses something completely off. This is totally different from yesterday. Felicia nervously asks what is going on. He points out that the freaky blue aura wasn't there before, and yep, that glowing energy is weakening their shield, making it super fragile. Just seconds later, Giant cracks spiderweb across the shield, and Felicia screams in pure panic. Amita is absolutely stunned. This is impossible. They are literally staring at the terrifying power of death. And boom, the barrier shatters into a million pieces, leaving the guys completely exposed. Shutra instantly screams at everyone to run for their lives, but the giant is right on their heels. He violently smacks Shutra, sending him flying through the air and crashing hard into the stairs. He desperately whips out his shield as Felicia screams out. Karak is freaking out too, seeing the prince in such brutal shape. He knows they are in deep trouble. One more solid hit and it is definitely game over. Now pay attention here, things get crazy. Karak yells for everyone to look up and they spot a massive flying ship. Shutra is stunned. Could it really be? The only legendary captain sailing these skies is the sword of the Dark Elves, slicing straight through the heavens. Felicia bursts into happy tears. Her brother actually showed up to save them. His name is Sylvan, and he immediately orders his crew to load the weapons. The massive ship rams right into the giant, knocking him back as he looks around totally confused. The airship literally phases through the monster, moving in to rescue the guys. Felicia stares in absolute shock, whispering Sylvan's name. Suddenly, the giant shatters into a million tiny glowing pieces. The ship touches down while the boys look around, totally mind-blown. A crazy amount of glowing droplets from the monster starts raining across the clearing. He realizes these are actual fragments of the white giant falling down. One glowing fragment suddenly starts floating upward, leaving him completely clueless about what is happening. A brand new creature forms from the drops, and Amita reveals that every single piece is a spirit guardian. They had lost their minds and turned to ruins, but they are absolutely natural spirits. Great job, team. Looks like the nightmare is finally over. But then the moon flashes neon blue. Shutra realizes the illusion is broken, and the moon is finally back to normal. But wait, a whole army of giants suddenly spawns out of nowhere. Amita panics, asking who they are, since that hit was supposed to end everything. Shutra immediately senses an incredibly strange energy. A terrifying purple aura erupts in front of them, and everyone starts panicking. You and I are thinking the same thing. What is this insane purple death energy? Was he really hiding his true power this entire time? Right then, an absolute nightmare of a monster bursts out of the energy, roaring like crazy and launching a massive attack. Felicia instantly whips around, screaming at Daphne to grab Amita and escape to the forest temple. Daphne yells back, "Understood, Your Majesty." Shutra hypes everyone up, shouting to prep for combat. Round 2 is officially on. Felicia instantly blasts into the sky, diving onto the monster from above to back up her squad. Meanwhile, one of the massive giants just crosses his arms, looking way too cocky. Caitlin can tell something is super shady here. Shutra warns her to stay sharp. He has no clue what that thing is, but it gives off massive boss energy. She wants to go scout it out, but Shutra shuts that down, saying they should just end this whole mess in one epic combined strike. He holds out his hand. Caitlin blushes, asking what this is. Since when is he so smooth? She takes his hand and he says this is their foundation. The second their hands lock, a blinding, crazy, powerful energy explodes between them, massively boosting their stats. The giant stares at them, totally confused, as they both just say, "Okay," and they are off. In a flash, they ambush the giant from both sides, leaving the massive beast completely stunned and clueless. The brutal clash kicks off, but right then the other giants start rushing the crew. Caitlin screams she will solo this giant while he handles the purple freaks. He desperately yells back, asking if she is absolutely sure she can take this thing alone. Caitlin furiously yells back, telling him to stop worrying. As the intense brawl continues, Caitlin suddenly realizes Shutra is actively circulating their combined aura, giving her access to Asura's legendary divine strike. Charging right up to the colossal monster, she confidently screams that she can easily crush this thing by herself. But the giant's magic completely traps her arms, and it wildly starts swinging her around, violently smashing her straight into the dirt. Shutra spots this and frantically screams her name, but instantly another giant targets him. He whips out his shield, yelling that these absolute freaks won't quit. So what do you and I learn here? Back off. With one epic swing, he absolutely obliterates several of the approaching giants. The system suddenly pinged. Level 25 reached. Our main character just stood there, totally mind-blown. Let's dive right in because this is where the hidden system skills finally unlock. The system flooded him with alerts. He just scored absolute movement control level 1, plus the epic Earthquaker awakening skill, Destruction Wave. He also unlocked the White Eagle's awakening skill, Absolute Territory. Shutra figured this was game over for them. Right then, his shield erupted with a blinding light. Time to test out that brand new absolute move. His magic blasted outward, vaporizing the charging giants using absolute territory. Even the massive blue giant just stood there completely stunned by this insane power. Shutra felt the raw energy coursing through him. So this was the true power of the White Eagle's absolute territory. Absolutely busted. First time firing it off, but he instantly clicked with how to control this beastly skill. This whole zone belonged to him now. The surviving giants were totally locked down by his magic trap without any way to run. The big blue one roared in agony. Shutra just raised his hand, looked them dead in the eye, and told them to drop dead. It collapsed, struggling to stand. Suddenly, a massive blast of bright green wind exploded outward, completely swallowing up the bodies of the giants. When the dust finally settled, Shutra stood alone. But then his energy totally drained away and he dropped straight to his knees. He was practically blacking out. That skill ate up way more aura than he expected. He was completely running on empty. Watch closely because this is where everything flips. The blue giant was still standing. Shocking, right? The monster was barely hanging on, but it hadn't dropped. Shutra cursed out loud, wondering how it tanked that hit. Without warning, the giant threw its arms wide open and blasted him with a massive wave of magic. Shutra froze his body, completely paralyzed. A split second later, a blinding flash ripped through the forest, kicking up a massive pillar of dirt and debris. Through the thick dust cloud, Caitlin suddenly jumped in. She blocked the hit and completely saved his life. He was totally shocked to see her. She shoved her hand out, screaming at him to take her aura right now because they were out of time. Shutra didn't hesitate and grabbed her hand. Instantly, crazy energy flared up around them. Shutra could feel Caitlin's aura flowing right into him, completely recharging his empty mana reserves. But the giant wasn't just going to wait around. It leaped up and dive-bombed them from above. They jumped back just in time to dodge the smash. Shutra locked in. Yeah, this much energy was plenty. His eyes flared a glowing crimson. He was going in for the kill. No more playing around. He pulled his arm back, lunged straight at the beast, and fired up that Earthquaker skill. He pulled down crazy magic for a destructive explosion. This skill literally obliterates anything caught in its massive blast radius. A harsh red light sparked right inside the monster's chest. Dark magic instantly webbed out, poisoning every single inch of the giant's body. Boom! A deafening roar shook the entire battlefield, and even Shutra had to watch in pure shock. 1 second later, the massive giant was completely wiped out. Caitlin was speechless at that broken technique. Meanwhile, Shutra immediately face-planted back into the dirt, totally unconscious. Felicia and Karak panicked and ran over to help him. But then Felicia spotted a weird magic circle glowing right next to them. I know what you're thinking, another monster already. Yep, and Shutra was out cold while it lunged straight at him. But out of nowhere, Sylvan dashed in and kicked the monster away. Felicia cheered. Sylvan yelled at his squad to wipe the floor with the rest, and they roared back, "Yes, Captain!" The crew charged into battle looking way too happy about it. Cut to a bit later, and Shutra finally woke up, staring at a ceiling. He sat up, groaning. Did he pass out again? Honestly, he was starting to make a habit out of this. Turns out he was in a ship's cabin. Caitlin rushed over to check on him, while Felicia scolded him to lie back down and actually rest. Shutra waved them off, saying he was all good, and asked about Caitlin. She smiled, telling him not to stress because she was perfectly fine too. Then Sylvan walked over, smirking that the 9th prince was finally awake. Shutra gave him a confused look. Felicia just laughed, telling him to say hello to her actual twin brother. Sylvan introduced himself as the prince who roamed the skies. Oh, and also the grand benefactor who totally saved his life yesterday. Shutra forced a smile. This guy was literally calling himself a benefactor out loud. He was super grateful, but how did they even meet? Felicia leaned in and explained that back at the lycanthrope village, she actually called him for backup. She just gave him a quick update on their mess, never really expecting him to show up. Sylvan grinned, saying he couldn't just chill if his favorite sister was in danger. But man, Shutra's fight was impressive. So what do you and I make of this new ally? He admits, Shutra is incredibly strong. And honestly, Shutra was pretty shocked to get praised. All right, stick with me here. Sylvan was actually bragging, saying the kid should be super proud since Sylvan himself sent him. Felicia was totally lost. What was this guy rambling about? The Lord of Swords had already recognized him. He screamed, "What Lord of Swords?" Shutra just stared. The guy was completely weird but incredibly sharp. Right then, Amita hopped out of Daphne's arms and waddled over, breathing a sigh of relief that everyone was finally okay. Shutra blinked, totally surprised to see him. Amita grinned. Thanks to him, the last flame and the guardian spirit were safe. And a promise is a promise, epic new equipment was coming. Shutra was hyped, thanking him instantly. But Amita held up a hand. One thing had to happen first. He told Shutra to follow because the last flame requested the ninth prince. A second later, Amita ordered everyone to focus up and behave perfectly. The last flame sees all. They stopped dead in front of an insanely massive building. Walking inside, their jaws hit the floor. The beauty was unreal, with a gigantic ancient tree towering right in the middle. A cute girl named Capron stepped up, flashing a warm smile and welcoming them inside. She was the legendary Spider Forest Guardian. Shutra was super confused. Wait, this tiny girl is the big scary guardian. Green Wind chimed in. This was just a child, basically a physical vessel, not the actual main body. Now pay close attention here. This body is a young spirit, that terrifying giant spider from the legends that was actually the previous guardian. It missed yesterday's massive battle completely, most likely because it was too young and didn't have enough power. Shutra totally got the previous guardian part, but since when did spirit guardians actually have kids? Amita laid down the law, only the prince goes further. Everyone else had to wait behind. The crew just nodded, okay. Shutra looked right at Green Wind, telling her to wait outside. She snapped back, demanding he actually use her proper name. He insisted she stay and chat with the spirit guardian. She was totally shocked, but he smiled. This rare chance only comes once. The little guardian beamed at her. Caught off guard, Green Wind softly agreed. Meanwhile, Amita was losing patience, loudly yelling for the ninth prince to hurry up. Shutra panicked and shouted back that he was coming. Seconds later, they stepped deeper inside, with Amita perched right on Shutra's shoulder. Nearing a massive iron gate, Amita strictly warned him to be careful. No mistakes allowed. Shutra just gave a confident nod. They pushed the heavy door shut and stepped into a room. A mysterious bowl sat there, radiating insane aura. Shutra's eyes widened. Was this really the legendary item? Amita nodded, telling him to walk right up and touch the flame with his bare hand. Shutra froze in panic. Touch fire, Amita rolled his eyes. Relax, it's a completely magical flame. Taking a deep breath, Shutra reached out. As his hand touched the fire, his whole body completely froze. You and I both know something crazy is about to happen. A massive storm erupted. A mysterious godlike being suddenly appeared, saying they had finally met. He stood there absolutely speechless. The literal Knight of Conquest was right in front of him. The girl reached out. He asked, "Are you the last flame?" The Knight of Conquest just stared back, completely confused. Did he know the Knight of Conquest? Shutra admitted he had absolutely no clue what was happening. She just smirked. How fascinating. Instantly, a wild surge of magical energy wrapped completely around Shutra's body. She started listing them off: conquest, war, death, famine. The legendary 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. These absolute monsters live for the end times. They literally exist just to crave destruction and violently speed up the apocalypse. But he was wildly different. It was so completely off that she honestly couldn't even figure out why he was the Knight of Conquest. Normal horsemen crave absolute chaos, and they don't just gain that dark hunger after getting their epic powers. They are born for it. But Shutra, he didn't want anyone dead, and the dark energy wasn't even affecting his mind. Usually, these cosmic beings completely hijack the minds of the people they pick, forcing them to carry out their twisted, world-ending agendas like mindless puppets. They get completely brainwashed, trying to speed up the end of the entire world. But the power of conquest wasn't taking over his soul at all. She seriously started wondering what on earth he actually wanted to achieve. Shutra was completely stunned. Leaning in the night, asked his ultimate goal. While death wants to wipe out the whole planet, what was his actual dream? That question hit him hard. What did he really want? Thinking back to his old life, his first thought was escaping back to his original world. But in this new fantasy world, images of his friends flashed in his mind, the people who trusted him and fought right beside him. Looking down, he found his answer. And that's where we leave it. He's stopping the lycanthrope slaughter. He is totally done with this slaughter. You and I know he can't forget holding Caitlin's hand. He's ready to flip this game's dark script so his loved ones survive. He swears to protect them all. And the night of conquest, she simply smiles. Very well. Born with the ultimate destiny to conquer and rule absolutely everything, the Knight of Conquest already knows the simplest, most perfect method to grant his wish. She asks one question: will he become the Demon King? Shutra freezes for a second, locking eyes with the goddess. Why not? Honestly, his only goal is completely rewriting this trash game's tragic ending. He confidently agrees to take the Demon King's throne. The Knight of Conquest smirks, and instantly the massive aura around Shutra shifts. She whispers that the Knight of Conquest doesn't want the world to end. No, she wants a king. She promises to pray for his absolute success. Leaning in close, she gently cups his chin in her hands. System alert. He unlocks level 1 divine power, the literal embodiment of flame. Just like that, a permanent, unbreakable alliance with the legendary Last Flame is officially forged. Bam! Level up. He snaps back to the room, staring at his glowing hands in pure shock. Amita grumbles, asking what he's staring at. Time to move. The Last Flame literally ordered him to gear up immediately. Cut to the Fairy Forest secret orchard. Amita drops the bad news: they are seriously broke on crafting materials. Now here's where it gets funny. Watch closely as Shutra checks the map, looking totally confused. Did he just say materials? Amita points north to the Lake of the Sunday. Turns out metallic monsters roam that area, and our guy needs to hunt down a whole bunch of them. Shutra blinks. Wait, wouldn't literal dragon skin and bones be enough? Amita completely loses it. Those are just the base ingredients. A master blacksmith needs way more stuff. To overhaul everyone's gear, it takes an insane mountain of loot. He needs to pull his weight. Got it? Shutra is dumbfounded. Hold up. Isn't Amita the greatest blacksmith alive? How is he completely out of supplies? Amita glares. Does he want new armor or not? Shutra quickly nods yes. Then Amita just screams, "Why are you still standing here? Get moving." A terrified Shutra practically salutes, and soon enough their massive magical airship is cruising right over the forest. Karak asks if those metal beasts actually exist at the lake. Sylvan nods. Yep, especially the infamous Callus. Good thing its major weakness is divine power. Their bodies are pure solid metal. And not just any metal, super rare crafting gold. It even works as a perfect natural water repellent. Karak loudly praises Sylvan for literally knowing everything. Sylvan just chuckles, reminding them he's the literal prince who roamed the skies. Felicia flashes a massive grin and says, "What a crazy coincidence." She actually needed to visit the Lake of the Sun too. Caitlin tilts her head, totally confused. Why there? Felicia explains that her epic ruin exploration map, the exact one she sent back to the Demon King's palace, points directly to the Lake of the Sunday. She was bound to go there eventually. So saving time like this is basically an absolute win. Caitlin's eyes go wide. Wait, a hidden ruin exploration map. She is absolutely hyped to see what's inside. Now you and I need to check out this crazy system window. With green wind floating nearby, Shutra is completely stunned. How did he hoard so many skill points? He decides to save a few points and spread the rest out evenly. Bingo hitting level 25 means his Royal Knights get a massive power boost too. The system flashes his level up, just expanded his Royal Knight slots from 2 all the way up to 3. Plus, summoning efficiency skyrocketed. He can now call upon his Royal Guards every 3 days. Honestly, a pretty sweet deal. Getting a 3rd Knight is huge. Honestly, adding Caitlin or Felicia to the squad would be god tier, but that's probably impossible right now. Suddenly, Green Wind sniffs the air. She complains he smells weird. Shutra blinks. What on earth is she talking about? She pouts, saying it's definitely not the scent of Kapangrang. Is that the literal smell of the Last Flame? He's speechless. Greenwind furiously screams that a man smelling like another spirit is absolutely disgusting. She blasts him with a mini hurricane, making Shutra flinch hard. Karak turns around, totally confused, while Shutra just awkwardly smiles and plays dumb. Sylvan shouts from the helm. They finally reach the Lake of the Sun, but as they look over the edge, their jaws hit the floor. A titanic monster explodes from the water, launching a massive ambush. The beast roars, exposing rows of razor-sharp, terrifying fangs. Sylvan panics, screaming that it's a literal sea serpent. How does that even make sense? Those things only live in the deep ocean, not in some random inland lake. But stick with me to the end. Sylvan yells to retreat before they die, and the panicked crew scrambles, shouting that they're firing up the engines for an escape. But suddenly, Shutra calmly tells them, "Wait. Let's dive right back into the madness." Sylvan gives a weird look, but Shutra steps up. He's totally handling this right now. He draws his weapon, suddenly grabbing Caitlin's shoulder. She's completely confused, asking what's happening, but he just apologizes as a glowing aura engulfs her. "I'm right here," he yells out. But before he can even finish his sentence, Caitlin is already screaming at him to stop. Shutra dives straight into the roaring monster's gaping mouth. Mid-air, he instantly activates his insane dragon's blood spell right in its face. Blinding golden light explodes from his magic sword. He grins, realizing the timing for this epic strike is absolutely perfect. This monster, the absolute perfect test dummy, he unleashes his special ultimate magic and raw glowing energy, completely swallows the entire battlefield. He casts Dragonbane, slamming right into the beast. Fast forward, they finally reach the shores of the Sun Lake. The ship docks safely, and Caitlin absolutely loses her mind, shouting at him. She's not his personal aura battery. Scratching his head, he awkwardly apologizes. She gets it given the emergency, but next time he seriously needs to warn her before draining her. He brushes it off, but Felicia quickly shushes them. "Look ahead, there's a whole squad of creepy cultists blocking the way." Sylvan smirks. "Okay, time for some fun." Shutra immediately tries to hold him back, desperately telling him to just wait a second. These cultists look like solid metal tanks, but actually, that shiny armor is completely superficial, barely covering their real vulnerable bodies underneath. Watch closely because strategy matters here. The best move is aiming right for the mouth or using ice magic since they are insanely weak to cold. Sylvan just smiles. He knows all that, but his method is way more satisfying. He erupts with raw energy, casting Aura Blade. This skill slices through anything. Heavy armor. Yeah, it's basically wet paper to this insane attack. Raising his glowing sword high, the sheer explosive power leaves the entire group completely speechless. Felicia grits her teeth. Seriously, but honestly, she can't even hide how awesome her big brother looks right now. So why not let him solo the cultists? She totally hypes him up, and Sylvan instantly blushes, proudly saying he'll handle everything for his little sister. It's a piece of cake. He will wipe them all out single-handedly. He charges straight at the roaring beasts. The rest of the crew just hangs back eagerly, watching the absolute slaughter unfold before them. Shutra feels kind of bad about dumping all the heavy lifting, but Felicia just waves it off. Don't worry, he's totally got this. Time to grab dinner and take a break. They have way too much work to do tomorrow. Karak almost pities the fifth prince, but honestly, Sylvan is out there absolutely shredding every single monster with unbelievable ease. Laughing like an absolute maniac, he chops them to pieces. Turning back with a massive, arrogant grin, he proudly yells, "Are they seeing this?" I know what you're thinking. His ego is huge. Standing over the bodies, he brags that an entire army couldn't touch the Prince of Heaven. The crew is totally thrilled with the free carry. Felicia claps her hands. All right, time to loot those medals. Quest items secured. Moving on, a weird, glowing, magical bubble suddenly pops up right over their heads out of nowhere. Caitlin freaks out a bit, but Felicia quickly explains. It's just a high-tier spell letting them breathe easily during their deep underwater exploration. Karak is amazed and just says, wow. Felicia turns around, flashing a bright smile. Well, is everyone ready? It's finally time to hit the ruins and have some fun exploring. Tying her hair back into a ponytail, the whole squad dives straight into the dark, mysterious depths of the reservoir. Following a magical map, Shutra suddenly hits the brakes. He turns around, urgently waving the rest of the team over. He points at a hidden gorge. Swimming inside, they miraculously break the surface, finding a massive pocket of completely breathable air. Karak is completely mind-blown by this secret spot. Felicia asks how he found the exit, and Shutra shrugs. His instincts just led him right to it. Sylvan puffs his chest, volunteering for the front line while Felicia handles the map navigation. But Felicia completely shuts that down. Shutra's the guide, so he leads. Sylvan gets rear guard duty. Sylvan turns around looking totally offended. Guard the rear, Felicia instantly plays him, insisting that only the absolute strongest fighter can protect their backs. Oh well, in that case. Sylvan instantly nods, agreeing with her flawless tactical genius. Drawing his twin swords, he loudly tells everyone to relax. He's got the back line completely locked down like a boss. Everyone shares a sneaky grin behind his back. Felicia snaps back into serious mode, ordering the team to push forward. She steps up, but Shutra stops her. This place, it's way more decayed than the Thunderbane fortress abandoned centuries ago. She completely agrees. This creepy lair hasn't seen a living soul in over 1,000 years. Greenwald taps him on the shoulder, pointing out something super strange. There's mysterious writing carved right into the solid stone wall. So, what do you and I make of this strange ancient drawings in a dead language not even Felicia can recognize? Stick with me. The system just announced they decoded a fallen level 1 race's script. Our MC was absolutely stunned, realizing these guys were ancient writers. Felicia caught his reaction right as he muttered 10,000 years ago the literal apocalypse hit this place. 6 massive magic pillars completely useless in the end. It sounded like pure despair, but he could not be totally certain. Here is where it gets crazy. Felicia absolutely panicked, demanding how he actually read that. He just stared at his glowing hand. But then a blinding beam of light suddenly erupted in the distance. Every single head turned. Felicia gave him a confused look, asking where he was wandering off to. Shut just started walking straight toward that light, then completely froze. He knew this was the spot. Creeping closer, he spotted a glowing magic cloak just hovering right there in midair. Trust me, this fierce cultivator gear changes everything.